For real. What is up, everybody?
Imagine if that's how I talked. Would y'all still sub?
If I was like this,
Oh, I hear something else playing. Oh, okay. What up, IG? Chat. What's going on, everybody? Tapped in. Mario will get here in Fighting FX. I appreciate everybody here early already. And we have a pretty much wrestling only show. But listen, you want to call in, talk about boxing, MMA. I am game to talk about anything. You want to talk about the Astros making incredible moves here at the end to potentially get Stephen Kwan. I hear Cease might be coming over. Alcantara, I think, is on that short list as well. So yeah, Los Padredes, and yeah, we got and Correa too. What the fuck? I don't even want him back. Fuck him. But listen, we have a lot to talk about. I got a bunch of people come through. King Amin supposed to tap in with us to give his breakdown of basically everything that is happening in regards to SummerSlam. I didn't get to see AW last night, so we're gonna also turn that on and check that out. But yeah, SummerSlam feels mid. I'm not gonna lie, feels mid, super, super, super mid. And I spend a lot of time on this show, agreeing with the AW takes for most people, right? In the sense that AW has been in a hole. They've dug themselves out a lot, but it was clear that WWE has, they were on this huge hot streak. I'm sorry, that hot streak is over. It's been over. If you have not been watching that product consistently, then you don't realize how similar every booking is from week to week. Oh man, listen, we're gonna get into all of it. We really are. I want to start off at night one. I'm gonna wait for Amin before I give any clear, picks and stuff. But I would like to let everybody know that if you want to give your picks on the SummerSlam, oh shit, I forgot to send the link to him. If you want to give your picks for the SummerSlam card, night one and night two, I will have the chat open. I mean, the link open to join in all chats. Yo, what up? What up, Myro? Good to see you, big dog. It's been a while. Um, and then we're also going to talk about Unreal. We're going to talk about Unreal. It debuted on Netflix. Shout out to everybody, by the way, that tapped in with me on TikTok Live. I've been going on TikTok Live a lot more, and it's pretty popping over there. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't understand a lot about it. You know what I mean? I don't understand why the Feed Me More guy, Ryback, is like he plays like TikTok games with people all the time. I mean, I had seen that for a long time, but I have no clue what he's doing or how it works, but I'm trying. So that's the important thing. But we're going to talk about Unreal. Like I said, thank you to those who were tapped in live with me on TikTok Live while we kind of watched it together. I didn't do like a full watch along, but seems unlikely to be an elite player again. Oh, yeah. Carlos Correa. Yeah, that's what the fuck I said, bro. Nobody gives a shit. Yeah, Carlos Correa sucks, bro. I mean, he doesn't suck. He's just, I don't know. If we win the World Series, it's certainly not going to be because of Carlos Correa. Hold on. There it is. So anyway, Unreal debuted on Netflix. A lot of people have a lot of criticisms about it, which is totally understandable, and I do as well. We're going to talk about Unreal. We're going to talk about, is WWE releasing too much? Are they telling us too much? Are they giving away too much of what has made wrestling still magical after all these years, despite the fact that we all know, we all know now. Everybody's in the secret. See, when I was a kid, there was still a debate to a degree, right? Most adults just assumed, but nobody knew for sure. Obviously, there'd been moments in pop culture where a wrestler would just slap the dog piss out of a, journalist on the sly. That was in the Vince McMahon documentary, if you checked it out. That guy, I forgot what was his name. He got slapped. He got bitch slapped hard. Reporter slapped by wrestler. It was what's his name? David Schultz. What was his name? I forget his name. John Stossel. That's the reporter. If you'll remember, they slapped the dog shit out of him because you couldn't do that back in the day. You couldn't get slick with a wrestler back in the day, right? They will slap you in the face and pop your eardrum while they do it, or they'll choke you out on live TV, you know what I'm saying, in front of a studio audience that's there for comedy. Shout out to the incident between Hulk Hogan and Belzer, I forget his name, the guy from Law and Order SVU. That was a different era of wrestling where you could talk slick to him, but you're gonna get a slap. Today, I don't know, there's like 10% of wrestlers that you probably wouldn't want to say shit to, right? But for the most part, I mean, I don't really, it's just not that world anymore. But I don't know, man. You're dumping a lot of that magic out of the window. I mean, the fact that they showed plants in the audience, I'm sorry, I think that's a significantly bad idea. And it's not even that it's a bad idea to have plants. That's not what I'm saying, of course. But I don't know, you're just telling us all, like, I don't know, like, I don't want to go to a football game and then, like, for some reason, somehow, like, the NFL has all this dirt on the players and they're like, now announcing your starting Dallas Cowboys. And every one of them that has tested positive for cocaine and steroids. It's like, no, I don't need to know that part. Like, you could keep that part a secret. Like, you know what I mean? Like, now your kicker for the Dallas Cowboys and unfaithful to his wife for the last decade. Like, that's cool. Is he going to make the kick? That's what I care about. But it's just like so much stuff that doesn't matter that they're showing us. And it's cool for that moment, but what's the long-term reasoning? What are you going to benefit from? Now, WWE's assumption is that, like Total Bellas or Total Divas, whatever it was called, like those other shows that they had in the past, like the Miz show with his wife, I forget the name of it. Miz and Mr. I don't know. That should have been the name, though, if that wasn't the name. Miz and Ms. Triss. I don't know. Fuck it. But like what ended up happening with those shows is that they got played on E, right? And it drew a lot of young female audiences, to the product. And this isn't an audience that has really ever been encapsulated by WWE before. Now, I don't want to make it seem like there are no girls or women who are interested in wrestling. Completely untrue. In fact, I'll be honest, there's a lot of hot girls that like wrestling. It's fucking crazy. Or maybe it's that they're hotter because they like wrestling. For me, I don't know. I just remember being in college and thinking, man, what if you just like hooked up with a girl and then you could like be in bed next to them and like talk about, The Rock versus Bret Hart, who had more impact on the game or something, like, you know what I mean? Like just like an inside baseball topic after coitus. And so I think it's a situation where there were girls, but it was never catered to girls, right? In fact, it was kind of like catered to men, really. Like, you know what I mean? Like the only women that were out there to show us their boobs. And I say us, by the way, I was like fucking 9 years old. Okay. So I was not objectifying the women back then. Eventually I would, but you know, Vince McMahon taught me how. Uh, uh, I just don't think that they're gonna have that kind of response to this, you know, because the girls that liked it, they're the kind of girls, I guess, that like Love Island. Not to say that you could put girls like that in a box, right? A lot of women, a lot of men too love like Love Island. My niece forced us to watch like 4 episodes. It wasn't terrible. I understand the appeal. I didn't love it. I didn't continue to watch it. But sure, I asked her who won at the end and what happened to, you know, Huda Stank. I asked, right? Like, because it was just like a little interesting to me. But that I don't see happening for Unreal at all. I don't see people watching it and then like getting this stake into the weekly programming, right? Because there's no drama that's not wrestling. All the drama in this show is associated to wrestling, right? For example, the second episode involves Jay and his big push. And oh my God, to see Triple H have the conversation with Jay Uso, bro, I want to fucking be like transported in that scene from the future and be like, you fucking liar, Paul. You don't have any fucking plans for him. You're gonna what? You're gonna push with a rocket up his ass? Okay, and then when he gets out there into the stratosphere, what's your plans for that? Oh, fucking nothing. Like, look, I'm not saying obviously I'd be there and be like, Jay, don't take the championship. It's not going to work out. Like, stupid, right? It's his first title belt. You know, a lot of reigns happened in that fashion. If you remember Bret Hart's first reign, I always talk about this. He beat Ric Flair in the match that wasn't the main event, by the way, for the title, then ends up losing it at WrestleMania after a few months, right? I think he had it since like November. Wrestles at WrestleMania against Yoko, who had won the Royal Rumble that year, 93, and loses the belt to him. And then Hogan wins the belt. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on, dude. Like, and that was his first run. So if you were a WWE fan back then and you're like, dude, I love Bret Hart. What the fuck? They just screwed him. It didn't matter. It got better, right? It was just his first run. And again, a lot of first world title runs aren't great. There really aren't. But man, seeing Triple H talk to Jay and just seeing how excited Jay was, like, he really thought they had plans, bro, and they didn't. No one is going to ever convince me that Triple H had plans to do this. Not at all. It's just not going to happen. Because go back and you watch that, and man, I really wish we could watch it. I wanted to watch it so bad, that's why it was so much more fun on TikTok Live. But I guarantee I show one thing, they're gonna fucking zap me on YouTube. It's like they hate me over there for some reason. But like, God, I wish I could just show it. You know, that's the conversation I imagined that they had with Jey Uso, and it went exactly like that in my head, right? And so I always told myself, well, you weren't there, so you don't know. So maybe Jay did realize that this was all, you know, bullshit until he dropped it to Gunther, because the real future plan, the real long-term plans that they actually had for the belt were never for Jey Uso. They were for Goldberg. Now, don't get me wrong, they didn't do that well either. And that's kind of the problem. It's like, if you were going to make Jey Uso's run as lackluster and shitty as it was, then at least make the Goldberg thing cool. Like, at least make that work. And you didn't. And that's why I feel like Triple H is spiraling to a degree. Like, you got to be in this position where you're the guy who's supposed to take over for Vince. And for years, everybody's like, oh my God, we need Triple H to take over. Oh my God, we want Vince to fucking, you know, retire. And then it happens. And now we're here. And imagine being him. Like, okay, finally, now I can fully implement the stuff that I know to work, that I know will make the difference in this company, that will make us cool again. Because remember, Triple H is the original cool guy, right? Wrestling was never cool back when I was a kid, right? By the time you got to middle school or high school, God forbid anybody found out you were a wrestling fan, right? Now, don't get me wrong, there were other wrestling fans, right? And so it was like whatever, but it was like Star Wars back then. And if you're too young to know Star Wars, there was a time where that shit was just nerd as hell and nobody, messed with it. And comic book stuff was lame. And, people were real like whack back then. Like, honestly, it was like everybody's trying to be tough, but everybody's just like big pussies that can't enjoy like TV. Like, what the fuck? Oh, Star Wars is for nerds. Yeah, you know what else is? Jerking off. And that's the other thing you're doing. So I just think that when you have this window where somebody is going to present you with this run, right? And it goes down the way it goes down, it's all about context. What did he know? What did he expect for this run? And man, after that conversation in episode 2, if I was Jay, I would have been asking myself, dude, am I going to wrestle Roman Reigns next year? Should we be setting that matchup now? Because I'm going to be like, obviously, like a fucking superstar. And man, they just had nothing for him. The first episode was a little in the dust, as they say, like letting the dust settle kind of situation, I think, for the episode. There just wasn't like a full narrative, right? They kind of like used the first episode to like go everywhere with it. But I think that when you look at this show, when you look at the episodes, they are giving us too much, to show us somebody's push from the moment you have that conversation with them. That's a lot, bro. You're putting yourself out there, really, really out there. And I haven't watched everything yet. I haven't watched the final episode. Actually, no, I haven't watched the final 2 episodes. I fell asleep last night before I finished the second to last. But I can tell you that I do like it. I do find it interesting as a wrestling fan. I just don't think other non-wrestling fans are going to find it interesting. And again, I go back to the Total Diva shit. Like, people watch that, the female and gay audience that watch that, which is the E! News, channel audience. They did come to wrestling. They came to wrestling in a big way. And I feel like when you look at the indies, right, and guys like Effie that have gotten over the last like several years or last decade or whatever, I really think that show stamped wrestling with a certain flag that people felt more comfortable with. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't these like crazy drunk beer swelling cursing fans anymore from the 60s and 70s and 80s. These are kids, these are children, these are families, coming in. And so that show did do a lot to open the door to another demographic. But tell me, where are the storylines here? Again, they're all wrestling. Like, we got to see Nikki Bella and John Cena, basically the implosion of their relationship. I've always said nothing was worse for them than that moment. The show, I mean. Shout out to the king. What is going on?
My brother, what's going on? We got a SummerSlam, weekend coming up upon us. Thank you for inviting me. Shout out.
Of course. Thank you for coming, bro.
No, the funny thing is, the universe works in very mysterious ways, Mr. Munguia. My children actually talked you up. You share.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they asked me because, my son, there's too many black Amaris in the world. So, of course, our son's nickname is Mario. So
nice.
I was mentioning something. They're like, is that Mario Munguia?
Right? Oh, that's what's up. Yo,
right? Because they're friend of the family, right?
Champs, bro.
So they were asking. So don't be surprised if you see them make a cameo. But to that point, man,
I love it.
Wrestling is a family tradition for a lot of us, and I'm taking the family. It's in this New York City metropolitan area, so I'm taking the family to SummerSlam.
Yo,
and
Big up, King Ami. You have to come
Yeah.
next week and tell us all about it.
Well, yeah, so that's why I'm glad to kind of get here because, in the lives of us, grown folks, as it will, you got to stay or try to stay caught up. And there's so many layers, there's so many plot lines and storylines. And so all week I've been trying to make sure that I'm caught up on. And I don't want to jump ahead, but the Lyra Valkyrie, Becky Lynch thing. Lyra Valkyrie. I'm kind of interested in that, even though I'm not a big fan of the Return of the Man. See, so we got to get
I love
into
Lyra. I agree. No, there's tons of stuff that I like too. I really do. Real quick before we jump into it, just have you seen any of Unreal yet? And if you haven't, what do you think the positives and or negatives could be from exposing the business beyond what it's been exposed over the last 20 years?
My brother, I love these shows because wrestling, hip hop, and life, it's all a cross section, right? We talk about exposing the business, or like how we know so much more about the music industries. These old guys, we know more about contracts, we know more about record deals, the internet, right? They provide more stories. Fat Joe and Jada, for example, so there's so much more exposure going on that you can't help it. And to your point about Unreal, I haven't seen it, but my son, my 8-year-old, he's been Mario. He's been insisting. He's, Dad, you got to see it. You got to see it.
He's locked in. Hell yeah.
He's locked in. And I think to the point of how it's healthy for us to have gotten some of that exposure from behind the scenes with our hip hop and wrestling in the same way. It's healthy for us to get the exposure for things that have kind of already been revealed, We have the Jim Cornettes, kayfabe ain't quite dead, but it's different now, right? So it's hard to keep it the way it was. Listen, when I see Undertaker smiling and laughing, when I see him on what's that, LFG, with that show they got, just to know how difficult and how much work the Undertaker, him and Godfather, they hid their friendship because you got the heel and you got the baby face, and they enjoyed cannabis together. They enjoyed drinks together. But when the Undertaker was the dead man, he's walking in the bar and rolling his fucking eyelids just because he wouldn't want to give up kayfabe, right?
Bro, so right.
Those days are over, though. As much as I love it, you hear the passion behind me. I love it, but those days are over. So as long as it's being packaged correctly, right? And this is where I have to leave it to you and those that have seen it. I got to get caught up. As long as it's packaged correctly, I think it's kind of about time, right? How long can our imaginations run, and even not getting too far, reel me back in, but even like, characters like the Wyatt Sick, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can almost buy into it, but there's very little room for suspension of disbelief at this point because we know everything's being revealed. So I'm gonna check the show out because I want to see how they're able to present it. But I think it's inevitable, and things like that are quite inevitable in this, man.
Bro, I love your take. I really do, because I've been down on it. Not because it hasn't been good. It's actually too good. But because I've been so focused on what are the ramifications of this, right? Because like you look, right, down the timeline, there were ramifications the night that Vince screwed Brett. There were ramifications the night that Vince came out on Raw and said Brett screwed Brett. There were ramifications when Hogan turned. There were ramifications when Vince McMahon appeared on WCW TV for the last show. All these things have huge ramifications, especially on the generation of kids that are watching, right? So it's like thinking for a second that exposing them to the methodical and planned and carefully orchestrated script building and program building that is wrestling, it opens them up. They respect more of the business. They respect more of the journey of wrestlers. They respect the storylines better, right? Because like as an ECW kid, that got away from me for a little bit, right? I love story. I love Brett. But then I started seeing guys go through flaming tables. And then I started seeing guys 40 feet in the air and scaffolds falling down and chairs being launched in the ring by the fans at Terry Funk and Mick Foley, and all these moments I'm seeing, and it's like this crash course, right? Like MTV type shit, just hitting our generation so hard as a kid that, yeah, it all blew up. It got so high that I lost interest of everything, then came back around because I could have finally appreciate better that journey, or like, that whole storyline and everything. So yeah, I love your take on that, man. I really do. Shout out to the little champ there too for being a catalyst for that kind of process. But listen, man, I know we got to jump into SummerSlam because I definitely got to get your bookings for sure for everything. I want to start at the top. I want to start at the very top. John Cena, Cody Rhodes. And to put this in context for you, a lot of reporting right now that we're leaning towards a double switch, a double turn. For those that don't remember, Bret Hart, Stone Cold successfully pulled this off at WrestleMania 13 in a submission match, or I Quit match. This is a famous scene of Bret Hart having Stone Cold in the sharpshooter and Stone Cold just leaking blood, covering his face. Such an iconic moment. Actually, Mattel is making a figure of that Stone Cold with the blood and everything. So all of this comes at a time where Cena still has a little bit of time left, but he has the belt that he claims he's going to retire. The Rock, does he come out? Travis Scott, does he try to come out? Jelly Roll, is he the new celebrity that's going to be at the end? Are they going to have a schmuck? All these things are swirling through my head as we approach the main event. I mean, what do you think we're going to see, and what do you think they should do?
I don't know what they're going to do. And honestly, in the best interest of, how long can Cody kind of do the American anime? Like, he's like Nuxu Cow for all my Bloodsport fans. You know what I'm saying? Like the white hero. How long can he spin that? I don't think we're quite tired of it. It's not Big Dog Roman Reigns, right? It's not repulsive. It's just kind of like, okay, it's Cody Rhodes, And Cody's got the cable guy lisp going, and I always teased him about that. But yeah, I'm saying at this point, and he, even going back to AEW, he would vehemently deny ever turning heel. I'm never gonna turn heel.
I remember that. To the point it became part of his story.
Absolutely. So I think now's the time. Now is the time, and within that, you can flip Cena. Cena can go and say, "See, you see what this guy did? The worst of you comes out with this business. This is what happens. So don't blame me. I sacrificed for you guys because I was trying to tell you this is what happens, right? So then Cena, I think that's the best way to kind of flip flop it. Other than that, because I think it would be pretty anticlimactic if Cody just defeats Cena and he's still Cody Rhodes.
There's no way they can do that. I mean, there is no way after what happened at WrestleMania, because that's the other part too. I think that in 5-10 years, probably closer to 10, we're going to get a DVD of that WrestleMania and the shit show that it ended up being, right? Look what happened with WrestleMania 9, right? That was a shit show. People called it the worst WrestleMania forever. And now it was one of the most successful Peacock documentaries since streaming on Peacock was a thing, right? So turning lemons into lemonade is something WWE does very well. The ego of the guy at the top, right? The creator, the guy who's running creative, it's up to them. When can they break away from their pride and ego to let it go and say, you know what, if they think it's bad, then it's bad, but let's make it good now. That's my fear. That's my worry right now. As we sit a day away from SmackDown and WWE is pushing a summer product that was like magnified, bro. I mean, we had Saudi 2 weeks before Saturday main event, which was 2 weeks before whatever other show was there. I mean, it was a lot. Yes, exactly. it was so much to the point that now we're here and not much storytelling has gone down from the moment that WrestleMania happened to where we are now. And I assume that whole time it was because Triple H was going to cook up some other plan. Like, okay, that didn't work. That was a big failure. We fucked up. Travis Scott's pissed at us now, so we're not going to get him back anymore. So let's not worry about it. Let's just go start something new. But here we are, Cody Rhodes and John Cena part 2, just like they were setting up the whole time. Yeah. And not only that, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley are still wrestling each other. I mean, there's a laundry list of people that are still having WrestleMania matches. This almost feels like WrestleMania Night 3, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to SummerSlam Night 1.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Does all this stem from the John Cena turn? Do you think that when we look back that we're going to say that that was a botched run or something that came way too late? Or do you think that we'll look back and see the positives of it?
The John Cena run has been interesting because remember there was a time when you'd be, just watching SmackDown, you watching Raw, and they'd have John Cena being advertised on posters, right? And you just see it, and he'd be like, "No, I'm doing a project. I'm not available. But I'm working on it. Right?" So again, we're going back to how we started the discussion about some of that kayfabe being revealed. But what I thought, or what I think is the brilliance in what Cena's doing is kind of that delayed gratification. We knew when we were asking ourselves, like, when is Cena going to come back? Well, he's doing movies. He's not really, and then we kind of see him physically different. Much, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, good call. Yo, did the heel turn actually start when he started growing hair? No, I'm playing.
But you see where we're going with this?
No, it's kind of like going. That's clever as shit, bro. Because everybody hated it. Because everybody hated it.
We're looking at him like, what the fuck? Yeah, so we're looking at
for real.
He's not hench like he usually is. He's a little bit thin, you know what I'm saying?
He was giving too many dad vibes. And he always had the dad vibes with the jorts, right? But it was like too much, right? Like, oh, that's not my superhero anymore. Like, that's the guy that's gonna make sure that my dad's like AARP is, good and shit. My bad. So go ahead.
No, and so I think by this point, he can almost go back. It's almost like the hero that tried. So it goes back to the Cody Rhodes anime theme, is as in Cody Rhodes is the hero and John Cena was trying to, the anti-hero. I was trying to show you something, but you took me as the villain because you didn't like what I was doing. You know me, you didn't like the tone and what I was doing. You didn't like the presentation, but it doesn't matter. I was still trying to show you something. And everybody just loves Cody. Everybody's indifferent to Cody. You don't dislike him. Dusty's son. There's all these positives, and we really have nothing. And I think it's booked as a street fight. Something in that dance is going to change it where we may say, oh, Cody didn't have to do that to John. We already know this is the frail John. This is the depleted John.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like we don't know how far,
because that's what this street fight. Yo, and that's because what did he say this past week at Raw too, or last week? He said, "I want the old Cena. I want the guy that was actually competitive and loved wrestling. I don't want the guy that hates wrestling now and is terrible and is a former shell of himself." And that's been the narrative. So, yo, that's actually like really, really genius. I love that.
And Cody could spin it like, hey, you're no good for the business. This is why. This is why I had to do away with you, because you're no good for the business. You can't even keep up. You can't carry up. Look at what I did to you. And it's like, oh, Cody's a smug prick like I knew he was. Bam.
Yes, exactly. So let me ask you. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, right? And I'd like a yes and or yes no, and then you can feel free to break it down. But the question is going to be: do they take the title from Cena or not? Now, I want to preface with this: one of the best things in wrestling is when you can like present a literary element, right, that actually plays and work. And you were referencing, like MAGA stuff, and they all have their themes, they all have their tropes, right? One thing that's been awesome about the John Cena turn has been the countdown, right? Every few weeks he comes and gives us an update. I got 27 days left in this shitty shithole. I got 21 days left in front of you, no good fans. And that right there is one of the best story elements you can have, right? The countdown, the clock. It gives more importance to everything that comes ahead. It gives more pressure and builds up. If you remember Batman and Robin, the old school Adam West one, every single 2-part episode ended with them with a countdown for a bomb going off. Will the Cape Crusader and his definitely not boyfriend, escape this horror in time? Tune in next week. And you had to tune in because is the clock going to get to 0? Why you think that in every movie when the bomb is going to be cut, it gets stopped at 1 second or 0.1 second or 0.3, whatever. It's all because that countdown makes it so much more. There's just so much more anxiety to it, so much more anxiousness. It's just so much more important as it builds. It's the perfect pressure cooker. So I say that to say that Cena's not done. There is still story to tell in the sense of he has dates left. This whole idea of ruining wrestling by taking the belt, that's another fear that I feel like hasn't even been tapped into at all. But I ask you again, should WWE take the title from Cena? Is it time for this experiment to end? Or is there no logic in a Cody title run right now?
They could let Cena keep the belt and kind of have Cody now as the antagonist. Like, I won't let you leave. I won't let you leave. You got to fight me again. I'm gonna get the higher ups to give me another match. You know what I mean? And so it now it's turned on its head. No, see, I'm gonna make you stay. I'm gonna make you perform until I get the old Cena. You know what I mean? There's that angle to where so then he's like again, like, oh, now I was out of here. I was so many days away from leaving all of you fans, and now I'm stuck here. This is what I told you. It brings the still kind of like, you know what I mean? And you can get away with a Cody title run. You can get away with a Cody title run. And I think depending on how you flip Cody. And I think when you flip him, that now how long that title run and who you build to take him out, that is where you spend, going through, a Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, and you can build towards those events. But I think, yeah, you can get a title run out of Cody, but does it happen? Like you said, does it happen tonight? Well, SummerSlam, does it happen SummerSlam or does it happen later because they want to drag it out? Because
yes, and
you know what I mean?
That's been such a problem too. Like the planting the seeds, right? It's fine, but you and I come from boxing, and we have so many examples of overcooked matches, and they get ruined, right? Gamboa is one that we'll always talk about with Lopez. That is kind of what it feels like in a sense, right? Where it's a thing that we didn't see for a long time that we all wanted, but now it's past its due date. You know what I mean? And that's what this whole thing feels. It feels like Cody's a little past his due date. Now, don't get me wrong. They're still cheering him. I still love him. I still think he works as a face. I don't think there's any emergency, any reason to like urgently or just like provoked into turning him heel just because The Rock went on ESPN, Pat McAfee's show, and told everybody the business. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's a reason to respond. So this brings me to my last question for this. I mean, do you think that they should bring The Rock back? Should The Rock make an appearance at SummerSlam in an attempt to, I guess, appease the fans that were mad at Mania? I don't know. I want you to tell me because I can't call this. What do you think about the booking of The Rock showing up in a storyline he started?
First of all, if The Rock was going to show up, he should have showed up in the Bloodline storyline a bit more prominently. He should have been in a War Games. So he played himself
Yes.
and he played the fans by interjecting himself in this because it was too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, a threesome might be good, but an orgy, you can't really get it off with everybody. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you got
Exactly. Oh my
Cena,
God. That is
you
the
got
best
Cody.
metaphor for WWE booking CM Punk right now, honestly. But go ahead. My bad.
It's too many tits. You know what I mean? You can't get them
Yeah.
all. So it's like, why even involve him to get us frustrated at the point I didn't get a pair to the red pair. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? The
Yes.
brown, the milks. I didn't get it. Why even involve this man at this point if it's not going to be something that really pushes the storyline forward? And that goes back to the egos of the people at the top. When are you going to pull the trigger? Now here's the other thing too about that trigger, and we're not going to get into it, but remember the feeling, because if things happen faster nowadays, Mario, we got tired of that red and yellow, you know what I'm saying, until
Yes.
it turned to black and white.
Good
and
call.
and I'm not saying Cody's there just yet, like you said. I mean, we can keep going for however long, but even in that same continuum, real American night, kind of like, and look at the way America's going. Like, that thing's going to turn faster than we know it, such that, just for his longevity, he might not want to wait until the bitter end to turn, because then it might be
Ooh.
too late.
Yo,
Then
that's a
we may
really,
not have
really
no
good point.
interest.
That's a
So
really, really good point. I like that. Listen, I know we don't have a ton of time, so I'm gonna, start to burn through. Only one we're gonna book with you. I'll just get picks and whatever you want to get for the rest. But the only one I want to book for with you is the CM Punk and Gunther match. Now, I want to context it for you where my thoughts are, and then have you respond and give me your thoughts on everything. It feels like they're trying so hard to make us believe a story, right? It's like man, it's like when Pac and Biggie passed, right? And we started hearing like all this information about what could have happened, and then like nothing, like nobody got convicted. No, and it's like, wait, but this guy said that on radio. This guy said that on podcast. Like, aren't y'all checking it? And you know what I mean? It was like a situation where I couldn't believe what I was hearing anymore, to the point where like I'm done. Like I don't believe y'all anymore. That's where I've gotten with this Punk thing. That's where I've gotten with this, because I feel bad saying this, but no, Punk, you didn't main event WrestleMania. Yeah, you did main event night 1 WrestleMania, and that's cool. And I guess if you want to make the point that like in some weird way WCW never really died, or that second promotion never really died in the company, that brand awareness always tried to keep alive. And so from that perspective, sure, we'll give it to you. But it's not the 2004, 2005 era anymore. It's not even 2010 where the brand split has some sort of meaning. We can call the heavyweight champion the champion. No, this belt was retired, and now they brought this other belt back that's supposed to be the heavyweight title, but they've already undisputed it. Here's the other part about it. I mean, you're a very knowledgeable boxing fan. Undisputed means winning the belts, multiple. So what are you undisputed with when they just brought back the heavyweight championship again? The thing that you disputed, before becoming undisputed. All of that goes into the narrative of Punk finally winning the title. Finally, he's going to win the championship. He's going to win the bit, but he's not, though. Not really. Why aren't we getting Roman and Punk in some like crazy storyline? Like, why aren't we getting these definitive moments? And instead, I get it. Punk Drew McIntyre was great, but it was like you knew you were going to sacrifice Drew. Like, oh, that's okay. He can lose. Seth Rollins, yeah, it's okay if Punk just beats the shit out of him every time. We're going to just keep that, feud going forever. What do you expect in the title match between Gunther and Punk, and how do you feel like it's going to rank in Punk's most memorable moments for fans?
shout out to Gunther, because Gunther, my man Gunther, for his resiliency and dealing with Goldberg. Let me start there.
Yes, good call.
But you know, in the best way possible, he went from the consummate IC champ, and you know how IC champs are built, right? You know, our Ravishing Rick Rudes, our Bret Hart, you know what I'm saying? The solid guys, even when the workers, right? Say when they were WCW, the television champ, right?
Yes.
Those guys, and Gunther is from that class. He's done great, even with the US title, because of his international appeal. And I think he does a good job of representing this world title because somehow he doesn't need the cachet of undisputed, right? But with Punk, it's a different ball game. Punk is the prodigal son, right? He was the the black sheep, and then we kicked him out the house, and then mom and dad let him come back home, and he's been a good boy. He's been watching over the other kids, and he even started going to church with us. He went and apologized to Saudi, you know what I'm saying? So you're right, it's not the 2004 2005 Punk, and him getting the title. I think it's to what you're saying, it's like LeBron getting that bubble championship. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
it's like they gave it to him.
Yes.
They gave it to him.
Yes. Metaphor. Hell yeah. That's exactly what it is. Oh my God.
I'm just saying,
I'm
bro.
mad I didn't think of it that way. Or even the Dodgers COVID championship. Like, yo, that is a good call. You're right. That's how it feels. And it sucks because it's like, dude, if you would have told me 5 years ago, like, dude, Punk is going to come back. I'm from the future. Punk comes back and he wrestles Gunther at SummerSlam for the title. I would be like, oh my God, wrestling is going to be the biggest it's ever been on that year, right? Like after last year, I thought this was going to be the most poppin' year in wrestling history. And it wasn't, it was a limp showing for WrestleMania, both nights really. And then the summer just took this very weird Vince McMahon-esque stick to the booking, no matter how badly it's playing out. Who do you think wins between Punk and Gunther?
So my oldest son, shout out to Ty, he's got an interesting theory, right? He believes, and I gotta put his name on it in case it comes true, right? He believes that Punk will win, and then Seth will cash in.
Yeah.
Finally, get his revenge.
Yo, he's locked in. He's locked in. So he don't believe that it's an injury, or did he think it was like a work shoot?
No, he work shoot. He believes
yeah,
that.
See, me too. I agree. Back. I think they're being, man, yo, shout out to Ty, bro. He's locked in for real, dog. Cause that's a real possibility. Like, I don't think that they faked the injury at all. I don't think they would have worked the boys like that. Like, you and I know after watching wrestling this long, you don't work the boys, bro. You don't do that. You need them on your side. You need to be the crew, right? In a lot of ways, it's like a football team or a baseball team, basketball. So I don't think they did that. I think what happened was it looked really bad. Maybe they got really, good news like, hey, dude, just a few weeks off, right? He doesn't even have to come in and do anything really. Like, Breaker could do all the work and then Rollins can just cash in. Like, let's say he's still a little banged up and he actually can't go right now. He doesn't need to go. He just needs to lay on somebody for 3 seconds, hold the belt, and, do his Brian Pillman thing, right? Brian Pillman, some of his most magical moments were when his leg was in a cast, he was in a wheelchair, and he had a crutch. And that's going to go into my Liv Morgan booking that I have for Dom AJ. But that said, I agree with the champ, bro. Little big champ knows it, and I think I'm gonna steal his booking. Now, I'm gonna give him full credit. I was already gonna pick Punk, but having him tapped in like that and saying that, bro, I'm taking that. I'll give credit though, of course. I'm gonna give credit. But yeah, I'm going to go with that. I think he's right. I think Seth ends up cashing in, hurt or not. I think there's no way they don't cash into that if they can. You know what I mean? Because they really have a lot of people worked. You know what I mean? And it could have all been a work, a shoot. but we are where we are now. Listen, I want to run through because I know you don't have a lot of time left. I want to burn through these. First and foremost, Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill.
I'm
I mean, is
glad
it
we
time
got
to
to get to
put the
these.
title on Jade?
Mario, I don't like the way they brought her back, man. I got to be honest with you, and I don't know if the locker room heat with her and Bianca is real. But I think it was a terrible way to divide the three of them. I get it, girls can be catty, and I get it. There may be some truth to Jade coming over with the big head because she was a bit self-made, and all those things could be true. But I also understand that she was working on a film or something.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that time out didn't give her a chance to get a cleaner win over Asuka. Okay, so that's why I'm a little bit disappointed. If it was a cleaner win over Asuka, if she had got put over a little bit cleaner, I'd be okay. I didn't like that, and I felt like, again, you brought her back, really no explanation. It did great for Naomi. No more feel the
It did
glow.
great for Naomi.
And
Hell
she's
yeah,
looking,
it did.
you know what I mean? Right. So, but it didn't do the same thing for Jade. They kind of brought her back. She was interfering and saving people, but like nobody, the fellas loved it, but wrestling fans didn't embrace her. It was just Jade Cargill and the aesthetics. It wasn't Jade Cargill, the return of the wrestler. So I say that to say, it's a catch-22 because some people may be like, yeah, you didn't even bring her back right, and then you took the belt off Tiffy time, and some people were disappointed. Like you said, we went through so much with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany. That was like, it didn't live up to the expectations that it could have. It should have built up to. So it would be a disservice to both of them, honestly.
Good call. Good call. I like that you said that. Here's the thing, though, right? First of all, I agree with you fully. I never liked it. I thought they should have made her heel. Honestly, that's how I would have liked to do it. But if they weren't going to do that, then the booking that I really thought they were going to do is I thought they were going to turn Bianca heel and have
one of them
play that, role. And that's the perfect role for her. She doesn't need to be this like multi-layered character. Like, who gives a shit? Let her be a female warrior. Let her be a female, I don't know who else to, say it in that. But here's the other thing. She's way more talented than those guys too, by the way. She has grown. Anyone who's still talking that AEW shit, I'm sorry, you're not watching the product. Don't lie. Jade has gone out there with people that can't carry her, right? People that are just as green as she is, Roxanne Perez, and they've had great matches, good matches. Yes, Asuka and a few others, they carried Jade a little bit in some of her singles and tags matches over the past year or two, whatever. But at this point, you're either in on Jade or you're not. And if you do believe it, put the title on her now, because we need to know, you need to know as a company, is this the route to take her? Can she be a Goldberg? Can she be, you know what I mean? Or did we get this wrong? Should she be the mean, fucking full of herself character? Like, I think she could pull that off too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let's just give her the title at this point. Let's see what we can do with it. I hate for Tiff to lose it like that, but man, bro, I just feel like they got a lot of blonde chicks now. It's like,
and you know what else? You made a great point, because you brought her in and pushed her. She didn't do NXT. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you ain't bring her in to have her go back down and nothing like that. You do that when they're on their second run or something, or when you're building them. You brought her straight to the main roster, put that belt on her. Let her learn on the job. So I'm with you. You convinced me, and that makes a lot more sense. Now, a couple of things we got to get to, because I know I said I was limited time. I don't want to step on anyone else's toes, but a few things.
No, of course.
That tag team match, man.
That's exactly where I was gonna go next.
Come on, is it too much, or like, because I mentioned the Wyatt Six earlier, and I got nothing against them. I love the legacy and all of that, but I mean, you just loaded, and they just rebuilt the tag team division pretty much. So now you got almost all the friggin' serviceable tag teams in one match.
Yeah, it's bullshit. And man, you're right. They had built it so well. SmackDown's tag division was popping up until they did this thing, you know, and it feels stupid. I want to get your thoughts on the other big tag match, Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. Before you go, I'm going to say this. I thought Jelly Roll cut one of the better SummerSlam promos. Honestly, I was like, wow, this guy's pretty fucking good. But, you know, a match is a whole other thing. What do you think? Who wins? How do they book it?
So they're going to now, from what I hear, Jelly Roll has some type of experience. I don't know how much.
They say he's been training.
Come on. So listen, Bad Bunny came out and did a great job. We see what Jake is doing. I'm saying Jake.
Logan.
We see what Logan's doing, right? We also see what Jake's doing. Shout out to women's boxing. But we see what Logan's doing. I think you have serious potential for a very good match. You know, I don't think they're gonna let the green guys do too much with each other. But how green is Logan at this point? So I think they're gonna. I mean, and look at the guys. You got Drew McIntyre. You got Randy Orton. And you got Logan, whose athleticism has carried him away. His spots are going to be, you know, hand-picked. They're going to give Jelly Roll a few spots, maybe let him use a guitar to whack somebody a la Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
A couple callbacks and things.
I love that.
I think we get a solid 6-minute match with Jelly Roll and, you know, Orton being declared the winners, you know. They're not going to let Jelly Roll come in and lose. He just won a Grammy and all that shit, man. They got to let Jelly Roll live, man.
I agree fully. Great booking, by the way. I love that. By the way, I love that he did the Big Boss Man Slam. That was great. That was the perfect move for him to do. I hope he uses that too. Okay. Sami Zayn, Karrion Kross. Does Sami turn and night one SummerSlam?
If it's up to Scarlett Bordeaux, he better turn. I'm just saying at this point, Sammy, I know Sammy, you know, he's a Muslim brother. He don't deal with too much haram, but you know, Sammy, it's time to go on over to the dark side. Sammy can be anything. Even
he can. I really do.
You know,
I agree. You're right.
So I would love to see him, you know, kind of, because the way he do it, he kind of give this kind of like, you know, like, should I? Nah, I'm not gonna do it, and then say, you know what, I don't
Word.
And he's gonna, you know what I mean? So Sammy does that favor turning heel, and that helps Karrion Kross. I think it's time. I was just talking about this with my wife, man. Karrion Kross, they've been trying to push him for so long. You know, they kind of brought him to Hell's Kitchen, kind of, you know, bouncer, tough guy persona. Then it got a little bit of Eyes Wide Shut kind of persona. Then I don't know where it went from there. You know, he has kind of Scarlett out there, like, you know, like he had the, let's call it the Adam 22 persona, and Scarlett was like laying to the plug, you know. So it just gave very cuck vibes, right? But now they have more of a, you know, like Benoit and not a bad reference, but you know, they got a more of a synergy now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. It feels that way. Listen,
Sammy carries him along. Go ahead, brother.
Hell yeah, I agree. So I'm gonna ask you one more, and then anyone you want to tap into. But the one I want to ask you is AJ Styles, Dominic Mysterio. I still wonder how much that injury was real. I know it was real to a degree, but man, it feels like he won the title and has done nothing with it. Now I know that's not true, right? He wrestled Penta. He had some big moments here and there. But that moment of him winning at WrestleMania and then being cheered to go back to the ring. Come on, guys. Yeah. Y'all were there in Gorilla. Triple H, you saw that. So either you chose to ignore it because you wanted to bury Dominic Mysterio this summer. I really don't. I'm really honestly, I believe that, honestly. Or two, you never expected him to get over like that and you had zero plans. But the fact is that, you know, this feels like his second or third thing he's doing with the title. And I love what he's doing in AAA too. Like, this kid can do so much. Yes, he's young. But there's a reason why ESPN ranked him, you know, the number one guy, 25 under 20 or whatever it was, 30 under 30. Yeah. There's a reason. I don't want him to lose the title. I really don't. And at the same time, God, how great AJ needs that IC title. I mean, we were talking about it earlier, you know, the guys that embody the essence of the IC title. AJ Styles is that guy. And by the way, he needs to be a Grand Slam champion before he's retired. So, let's knock that off the list too. What do you think? Who wins, Dom, AJ, and how do you book it?
So much like boxing, my friend, this is great matchmaking, and Dom needs a win over old, a name on his resume.
Yeah, Crossroads, love it.
So you get a win, right, over, right, a guy like AJ Styles. Now this may not be AJ's, moment, right? But what if they do give it to AJ and Dominic has to win it back as a litmus test? Something, the Mysterio hysteria is real.
For
right?
real.
So Dominic loses it, AJ wins it, and then he wins it back. And then they say, okay, if the fans are with it this time, we're going to give you the full push. Because I'm with you. I don't think they understood Dominic Mysterio is what Sammy Guevara should have been.
Oh, that's nasty work that you just said. That's nasty work that you said.
You know what I mean?
I'm flipping the shit out of that.
One of them is like, I've been doing it and I'm entitled to it, and I'm gonna keep, taking as much as I can. But one of them is kind of like,
yo, that's a topic. That's a whole video. Oh my God, that might be my next video essay on YouTube. Fuck, dude, you just blew me away with that shit. Because you're right, bro.
But think
Sammy
about
had that heat. Oh my God, you are so right. Listen, I'm gonna say this real quick. I need Liv to come out. I need this whole thing to be settled. I wrote this. By the way, you can go to fightsatw.com, fightsaroundtheworld.com, where I myself write and cover WWE Raw, SmackDown, and I will be covering SummerSlam this week for Abe Gonzalez at fightsatw.com. Shout out to them. But I wrote on my piece covering Raw this week that the move is not, and this is my biggest fear, that this is exactly what Triple H has planned. The move is not to bring Liv back and run the exact same program that you did with Rhea and Liv. Only this time Liv is playing Rhea and Roxanne is playing Liv. Do not do that. Please do not do that. Yes, it worked. Yes, it was awesome. Yes, Rhea and Dom are probably, 2 or 3 of the biggest, things that happened in the 2020s for WWE. But you cannot run that same storyline. Oh my God, will I turn on you? I don't care what anyone else is going to do. I'm turning on you. That would be horrible. But the thing is they've done it really well up till now, right? So why not just have it blow off at the pay-per-view, right? Liv doesn't have to be in a contact position. I mean, she doesn't have to go out there and make contact or have contact made on her. Her mere presence would be such a pop that the distraction to Dominic Mysterio would result in whatever she wanted to result, right? So if she was, fully healthy and wanted to go out there and hit him with brass knuckles, right? Fine. But she's out and not expected to be there. So she doesn't need a steel chair. She doesn't need brass knuckles. She doesn't need to go and trip him or blow, green powder into his face. No, all she has to do is stand out there like, no, bitch, you are not taking chicken strips and fucking video games from this bitch. I know you're not. And that's it right there. You don't need anything else. You know what I mean? And Raquel can do the heavy lifting for her. I don't know. I think Dom is the guy to keep the belt on and the guy to keep the focus on. You know what I mean? But listen, any direction you want to hit before you tap out?
Lyra Valkyrie and Becky Lynch
title match.
Yeah, before we get up out of here, I don't like Becky Lynch's return, and I think this is a case similar to what I said about Dominic. You got, the veteran. You can give the young star some rub by her defeating Becky Lynch. It's kind of like an internal thing, the mentorship relationship. And it should be a solid match because I think Lyra's very, very talented. And I saw her promo on Monday, and I for the first time for me personally, I saw the personality come out, with her Becky Stompers or whatever she called them. And it was just a cute little step, a little moves, a little banter. And it was one of those things that, again, takes away from the kind of like the mythical ethos and just lets you know that she's just kind of like a regular, chick. So I thought that was pretty good, man. But I got a question for you before I get up out of here.
Yes,
and
sir.
Yo, is Kenny Omega going to be the greatest wrestler to have never competed on the WWE roster? I think I'd cry if that were to happen.
I'll be honest, dude. We on this show were convinced he would be in WWE in like no time at all, like within the next few years, right? Because I think he had like 2 years left on his contract at that point. But now I think you might be right, dude. I think that's exactly what's going to end up happening. What do you think?
Brother, it would break my heart. Kenny Omega got me back into wrestling in 2016.
Same.
I heard Jim Ross calling him on New Japan, and I got into, that's when I started getting into the the Bullet Club Elite. Shout out to Jay Switchblade White and those guys, right? So I'm just like, Kenny Omega, and the guy just wowed me. And I've been with him ever since. And again, I really, no hate, no shade. But I don't watch AEW even when Kenny's on. I try to watch it when Kenny's on, and I just feel like he's wasting away over there. And somehow I wish the wrestling gods, I wish Triple H lifted. If CM Punk can come on home, if they can bring Hulk Hogan back after whatever they felt about him, they even brought back Ultimate Warrior. Somebody, anybody. Sign one Kenneth J. Omega, please.
Bro, I agree. Honestly, I feel like there's like 4 guys from each roster that are huge names that they're not needed in the company right now. And switching over, like Hogan's death. I'll just say this before you tap out. Hogan's death, I think, will potentially have one hopefully positive influence, and that is, as we remember him in like the bigger scope of things, we'll say, wait a minute, even the biggest wrestler in the world has to adapt, has to evolve, has to change. Hulk Hogan, Jay-Z, not like all these guys that have been able to sustain the test of time. It's been because they've evolved, right? Jay-Z didn't rap about crack anymore, at some point. Like, yeah, I mean, he threw bars in there but his music evolved, it changed. And that's the same thing, with guys like that. And listen, I love Bret Hart, favorite wrestler of all time. I think the reason why, other than shitty booking, one of the biggest reasons WCW didn't have a run with him is because he was the same character. Like, he never evolved. So look, if Seth Rollins is ever going to be that Roman Reigns type, that John Cena type, I think he's got to go over there. And show to be that guy, because at the end of the day, you will never have room in this company to be the top guy as long as Roman Reigns is there. Punk is learning that right now. John Cena knew that, and that's why the run has gone the way it has. But listen, I mean, thank you so much, bro. For real. Every time you come through, bro, it's one of my favorite convos, for real. You want to give everybody the socials real quick?
Yes, sir. King Amin of Essex 1 on IG, King Amin of Essex 1 on Twitter, and the championship rounds on YouTube. I haven't put up any recent episodes, but the catalog is very thorough. They got tons of biographies on women's fighters. And it just so happens, the way I'm so intricate, the news that I delivered from months ago is still relevant now. But it's the summer. I got kids and I'm living life. So again, I'll be at SummerSlam. I want you guys to please always stay tuned into this guy, because you don't never know when he's going to bring these intriguing topics. I told him a half hour, but I spent more time because this is my man, 100 grand,
that so much,
friend of the family. I appreciate you, Mr. Munguia. Send my regards to the missus.
Hey, I hope you and the fam have a great time. Dude, I'm gonna hit you up next week because I
got to come back and I
want to come through and talk about it. Hell yeah, I'm down.
Absolutely, brother.
All right, appreciate you, big dog.
Peace, brother.
Talk to you soon. Love you. So listen, that was King Amin, bro. Y'all got to be tapped into him, right? Like, every time I bring somebody from the boxing world that I've known for a long time, it's for 2 reasons. One, because this is it's a person that I know, right? Covering the sport as a journalist, as a commentator, as a publicist. I know who could do this job and who can't, honestly. And it's not that anybody can't. You just have to kind of learn and get better at the things you got to get better at. But I bring people on that I know could have done this job, could have done the job that I could have done, if they had the time or they had the resources or they, or whatever. And most of them have done the job before too, by the way. Or I bring you people that I feel like could have done that job for everything: boxing, wrestling, MMA, fucking K1, whatever. But listen, we are going to stay tapped in. We got a couple of other people coming through. Hold up. All right. So anyway, yo, the group chat is going crazy. They got Cease going to the Astros. What I'm hearing or what I'm seeing is that it's at the 1 yard line. But before Dylan Cease, the names were Merrill Kelly, Alcantara, and Cease. And then apparently Steven Kwan was in there too. But this is after Jesus Sanchez. Who else was it? Correa. Fuck. I didn't even realize that Eugene Suarez went to the Padres. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Listen, so we are going to keep it tapped in. Where are we at? 729? No, 30, 31. That must be last year. Here it is. Okay, so I want to get back real quick to the oh shit. Let me also put the link in the thing. Yo, shout out to Carlos, the prophet in the building. Said, I don't like when Royal Rumble or Money in the Bank winners cash in with anyone but the real champ. Doesn't make sense. See, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to me. I appreciate you, Prophet, listening to me. And I don't mean that from like a narcissistic standpoint. I mean literally hearing my words, because a lot of people are talking shit about what I just said about Punk. But I mean, like 2 people, but still, you nailed it. In fact, your comment, I think, summed it up better than I did in however long it took me to have that conversation with Amin. I'm going to read it one more time, or let me pose it to. He said, I don't like when Royal Rumble or Money in the Bank winners cash in with anyone but the real champ. Doesn't make any sense. Now, I don't know if Carlos understands that what he said was not just right, but it was right on a bunch of levels. He said that it doesn't make any sense to cash in on anyone but the real champ. Now, you could take issue with that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You could say, well, hold on. What do you mean real champ? The WWE, the WWF is a fake organization. NWA is the real organization, and WCW's heavyweight title stems from that organization. So therefore, the heavyweight title is the real title, and the WWE title is the bullshit commercial title that weirdos have. You could make that argument, and that's a fair argument to make, but you can't make it now. You can't make it now because that's not the WCW heavyweight title. That was not the NWA heavyweight title. That heavyweight title that Seth Rollins inaugurally won, that now sits on the waist of Gunther after it was taken off of Jey Uso, before that taken off of Gunther in a situation where he tapped out. You see what I'm saying? I just recapped the whole thing. Doesn't that sound nonsensical? You're going to tell me Triple H had the plan for Jey Uso to tap Gunther, even though literally nothing that occurred on the road to WrestleMania suggested as such? It made no sense. You understand that, right? This is something like maybe that will help people that for wrestling's sake. You got people like FTR, right? They're all about no flips, just fists, right? Old school wrestling, tag team wrestling. Okay, you got those guys. And in their match with the Young Bucks, when they went to AEW all those years ago, they ended up having to resort or tried to resort to aerial attacks. Now, the story that was being told was that the FTR was being pushed to their limit and they were having to go outside of their playbook. And that makes fucking sense. Why do you think at the end of every movie, football movie, a Hail Mary is thrown? because it's out of the playbook. Nobody runs a Hail Mary in the first quarter, second and 3. Nobody runs a Hail Mary goal line in the third quarter when you're up by 14. No, a Hail Mary or goal line formation or even a toss, they're all built on circumstance. They're all predicated on where you are and what you are doing at that moment because they are outside of the normal playbook. Now, CM Punk won the right to face Gunther, okay? And that is not the same as the Royal Rumble winner or Money in the Bank winner winning or choosing. But the point is, it all stems from that. And again, I said I don't know if Carlos knows how right he is what I'm trying to say, because the mess that we are currently in with all of this stems from this fact. Let me tell you right now, the reason why you are not excited about about CM Punk facing off against Gunther to finally win his title, bullshit. The reason you're not excited is because somewhere in your brain, right back here, okay? Somewhere in there is this code of genetic makeup that is our brains, right? They're supercomputers. That's how the brains work, essentially. Branches and lines through the brain that connect and interweave. And so when we remember these things that implant in us, they affect the way we see things forever. And what affected us was the moment that Seth Rollins, who was the inaugural heavyweight champion, remember the title was still brand new at the time, went to Cody Rhodes and begged him as the Royal Rumble winner to pick Cody Rhodes. Don't pick Roman Reigns, who you almost beat last year. Don't finish your story, change your story. And why were they doing that? Because The Rock had come back and didn't realize that him and Roman Reigns wasn't big enough to just fucking do, and you still needed story. All of that for naught. All of it. All of it for naught. Literally all of it for naught. Because Cody Rhodes didn't pick Seth Rollins. The fans hijacked Mania, thank God, because The Rock almost ruined it. How funny that The Rock's efforts almost ruined Mania on 40, but it was saved by Cody. And then the next year, it's The Rock's lack of effort that ruins Wrestle. When he tries, he almost fucks it up, and then he makes it better. But when he doesn't try, he still fucks it up. Dude, you can't make that shit up, bro. But again, the image of Seth Rollins as champion begging Cody to pick him over Roman Reigns in their rematch at WrestleMania 40. And remember, 10, 20, 30, 40, likely 50. These are all some of the biggest WrestleManias ever. I'm on live now. You are too. What's up?
Okay, no, I was just returning your phone call.
I was going to see if you wanted to come on to make your picks real quick. I got a bunch of people coming in to make picks
what picks?
for SummerSlam, just for the main events.
Oh, dude, man, dude, made a video. You know what you need to make a video of? You need to make a video of who you think people should bet on. That's real content right there that nobody does on social media, on Facebook.
Bro, first of all, everybody does betting, but second of all, wrestling betting is like
not for wrestling.
But that's what I'm saying. But wrestling betting is like, I don't know, like nobody does it. To me, it feels shady because it's like nobody does it. Who bets on, or where can you bet on it?
So, you know what? Before people start, I would try to do what's gonna hurt.
Where do you bet on it though? Where can you bet on it?
Dude, you could bet on betonline.ag. Go to betonline.ag.
Yeah, I know Bet Online.
And it's wrestling. Remember that one time we were betting for Royal Rumble?
Nah, not really.
Yeah, you could bet on there.
Okay. Well, I was asking if you wanted to come through, or not come through like to the apartment, but like come to jump on the link.
Send me the thing. Dude,
All right.
I was gonna tell you, Man, dude, I really, really want to make the picks because tonight's the first football game.
It is?
Yeah, Hall of Fame game tonight, guys.
What the fuck? Really? That's weird. I didn't know that.
Dude, I can't wait, dude. We're gonna see the rookie from the
Bro,
guy that we thought we were gonna get from North Carolina, Omarion Hampton.
dude,
We're
you're
gonna see him run tonight for the Chargers.
no, we're not. It's gonna be like 5 plays. We both know
Yeah, what the hell?
preseason
He's
football
a
is
rookie
terrible.
running back. He will play.
Yeah, but
They already
preseason
said Omarion Hampton will play one to three.
but
drives.
preseason football is terrible. They never really do anything. By the way, did you see
They do play rookies. They do
That's
play
true.
rookies.
That is true. Did you see? Yeah, but not high value rookies. Did you see Correa?
Yeah, I saw it first before everyone did. I saw it and then
Oh,
everyone started-
I forgot. You're his agent, right? I forgot.
Yeah, yep, that's
Yeah,
right.
I forgot.
was
You're
watching- no, I
you're
was
his
watching-
agent.
I was watching MLB, and they said it, and then everyone started texting about.
I
30 minutes later.
don't like it. I think Correa sucks. I mean, he doesn't suck,
I
but
think he
he's
sucks, bro.
it's not that he
And that-
sucks, it's that he's not nearly as good as he was when he was with
But
us.
not just that, Mario. But think of it like this. This is what we need to talk on the show right here. I want you to say this.
You want me to send you the link real quick?
Honestly, hold on real quick. Did the Cubs pick just not matter? Because now
Because my brother doesn't fucking realize that I'm literally on the show holding the phone to the mic. This is how thoughtless he is. What?
the third baseman's not out for the year.
No, he is out for the year. But that it
He
is,
is?
yeah, he's out for the year. Yeah, they're 6 to 7 months, bro. They're hoping that he'll even be ready for 2026 opening day. We needed a third baseman for sure. Correa is not going to be the.
But I'm gonna tell you now, the Cubs won on that pick. I was saying the Astros made a good thing. They got him and they got Cam Smith. But now, guess what? The Cubs won, dude. Kyle Tucker is having the best year ever. Like I said, this year and next year will be his best year ever. And he started for the National League All-Star team and right field.
Bro, are you at the house?
No, I'm at the shop.
Why don't you just call on the link?
I am because I'm making the shit. Well, send it to me right now. I will.
All right, later. I told him he was live, so he told y'all he was taking a shit. That's his problem. All right. Let's see. Check. Check. All right. All right, my bad. I got to go piss real quick. Hey, what are you going to eat, babe? I'm live, just so you know, my mic's hot. You don't know? Huh? No, that's what I was asking you. All right. So, anyway, you want to call in so you can talk you can tell me about the Hogan thing? So anyway, I am of the opinion that CM Punk is going after a secondary title. There, I said it. tonight when a poop turns into a pee. Cause I spin around your block and then I spin around your block again. Bro, I like Mexican OT, but like, man, I'm just gonna say it, bro. You know what makes me feel like really bad? It's like I've always had educators in my family. Since I was a little kid, I heard them having conversations that eventually were targeted towards me. Like we were having conversations about how poor education is in Texas in specific areas. Now, you could look at the rankings around 2001-ish through like 2015-ish, and the numbers in Texas speak for themselves about how bad the education is. That said, though, there are a lot of places that provided great educations. And the theme that you'll see is over and over, poor education is provided to those areas for which people like Mexican OT live. I think I said that right. And yeah, man, like, I don't know. He's such a good rapper, but he's just like so dumb. And I feel like it's harder and harder at this age to like ignore dumb stuff, right? Like to just ignore like things that are dumb, you know, like the E-list, right? And this isn't to get political or anything like that, but like I look at the E-list stuff and it's like, oh my God, y'all, you created the problem that you don't want people to believe in now. Like that's like moronic. That's like borderline like retarded. I just don't tolerate that shit as much as I used to. But anyway, I don't even know why I brought Mexican. Oh, I brought Mexican OT up because that's why. I'm sorry. Thank you, Ram, for reminding me. So the rumors that I'm hearing now, I want to make this very clear. When I talk about certain aspects of the sport in boxing or MMA, I may at times have a source, you know, from my journalistic days, that may or may not be embedded in certain promotions that can, you know, fill me in. Why? Because I've created a level of trust. There is no record of me ever breaking a source's confidentiality. I mean, I've been a boxing journalist, right? Like the FBI is not holding fucking hot charcoals under my feet. You know what I mean? Like, what do you know, journalist? Tell us what you know about Pac Floyd. Like, that's not gonna happen, right? But it's still a situation where, okay, I'll say something and then people assume like, oh, because he's done this in boxing, like that means blah blah. I want to make this very clear. When I say stuff like this in wrestling, I am literally talking about what I see on Reddit. Now, I want to make this also very clear. If you do not know or understand the cultures and subcultures of Reddit and subreddit, then what you fail to understand is that those websites, along with 4chan, 8chan back in the day, are oftentimes used to pump out narratives, right? And a lot of times they're done by people within the community that they're speaking of, or that belong to the company or the business or the writer or the actor or whatever. Somebody connected to whatever project is the, main talking point of the Reddit. And so when you look at it and you see certain things that are said and then you see them come true, it's like not hard to put two and two together that, oh, that's, probably somebody from the truck, or, oh yeah, WWE did like a shit ton of firings in April. So yeah, it's probably now like around the time where certain penalties for non-disclosures would be off the book, right? Because there are certain non-disclosure aspects that will always be like, that you'll always be held responsible for, right? But then there are instances where it literally has nothing to do with your job and it doesn't matter at all. So, I say all that to say that, hold on, wait, I'll put it in again, champ, but I already did. Hey, shout out XYN Champ. Appreciate you tapping in. Hey, what's going on, Polk from Twitch? Polk, and who else is there? Mia. Shout out Mia. What's going on, champ? Appreciate you tapping in. Yo, so what the fuck? Oh, I'll just send it to the I'm gonna send it to all the homeboys. Let's see. Oh, I'll send it to Kins too. Fuck it. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, it's in IG and then it's in YouTube and Twitch. And now it is on X. No. Because I spin around your block and then I spin around your block again. Is this the guy that used to rap for the boxing voice? Yes, that is me. Thank you for the reference. Wait, I think they think I'm Doomy. I am the guy that used to rap on the boxing voice. Yes, that is me. No. It's not me. Why did I say that? No, I'm not the guy who just rapped on the boxing voice. I am the rapper from the boxing voice. Premier, champion, never beaten, undefeated. I beat Atlanta artists, Miami artists, Cali artists, New York artists. I beat them all. But anyway, so while we wait for our next caller / guest to jump on, let me see how much time he's going to take. Then I around your block again. And then I spin around your block again. Where can you find your old freestyles? Well, you can go to the Boxing Voice. They're still there somewhere. It would probably take a really long time though for you to send. I could look at my pictures and tell you like what year is best to look at. Hold on. Are you just trying to get me to show off one of my freestyles? I feel like that's what you're doing. And I feel like you don't realize that you don't have to try. I would have done it either way. Do-dooch, 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 do-do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay. Well, if anybody wants to, no, it's not my content. It was Ness's content. I worked for the Boxing Voice, never with the Boxing Voice. That is something that needs to be very, very clear, because a lot of people have given me shit over the years thinking that I worked with the Boxing Voice, but I always worked for the Boxing Voice. So when you say things like you're the guy who would jump on and off for years, yeah, you're right, because I was the guy who actually did it as a job. You know, everybody else at that time, they weren't paid writers or videographers, or they weren't being paid in the boxing game, champ. I was. I worked for, I moved on from TBV is what happened. And then when I realized how valuable it was to be able to write your own stuff, right? Because like Ness was in an editor, right? He's a dude who bought a website. So he didn't know a lot, and he hired people to, that did. What he got from me was a lot of inside baseball that he wouldn't have gotten anywhere else. So yeah, but nope, none of it is my content. Yo, speaking of which, bro, look at this. Yo, this is crazy. This is the first fight I ever covered. Right here. Paul Williams. Wait, how you make shit bigger? Oh, yeah. Paul Williams. Last fight. This was his last fight ever, too. He never fought again after this. Oh, y'all wanted to see? You wanted to see a thing? I got it. Oh, look. Okay, this is what I was gonna show you too. Matt in the building. What's going on, Machine Gun? Champ. The link's in the thing if you want to tap in. Matt, more than welcome. You just missed but speaking of which, look, there's my Boxing Voice days. I was a young kid. I wish I could go back and tell him, hey, exploit Mayweather Pacquiao for all the money it's worth. It sucks and nobody gives a shit about it in the business. You and the people that are in your community are the only ones that care. Literally no one else cares except for money. So you go and make as much money as you can by using titles and links and hashtags and keywords, and you make as much money as you can off of that fight. In fact, tell people that you think that they both suck. And then when they actually fight, you'll look like a genius. Also, if I could do that, I would just go to the part where they were about to go into the fight, and I would be like, yo, I saw Mayweather using an IV. Okay, look, this is when I got to cut. So I covered PBC, a PBC fight. And obviously, as you can tell from the picture, this is a very, very, very early PBC era. And I still have those shoes, by the way. So Ness had a lot of juice with a specific media person at TBV, and his good relationship ended up being my good relationship. So I would receive things that other writers wouldn't. And I wouldn't say wouldn't. If Steve Kim wanted to fucking walk in there, they would have just let him, right? Or Dan Raphael or whoever else. But me, among the people at my level, I was the only one that had that kind of juice. And again, it was because of Ness. But I built my own, shit. And so I was able to do it. And I just kept it moving. But yeah, this was cool. It was really awesome in there, honestly. I really, really liked it, but those are the PVC shit. Some of these pictures are terrible. Now, so I got an early look of everything. You remember when they did the blue and the red corners? Y'all remember that? Excuse me. I actually don't think it's as lame as I used to. I used to think it was lame. This is their video thing. It's like WWE, except only a quarter of the size. Yo, shout out to the champ from SA in the building. Yeah, so this was all the shit that I ended up capturing. I'm glad I did because it was a vibe, and we all know now that it's all, that it don't work anymore. You know what I mean? Or it don't work like that anymore. Oh yeah, this is when we had the Mayweather Pacquiao party. My dad works for a grocery chain that gives him a lot of stuff from the boxing realm, from Tecate, Corona. I got the beer bottle still. Oh, okay. You can leave it open if it doesn't bother you. I got the beer bottle still though. I could show him, but but not right now. Oh, here's the Maidana one. Y'all remember these that came out? They were like they're Coronas, they're regular Coronas, but they were Golden Boy like themed or whatever, and they had like Marcos Maidana, Danny Garcia, Eric Morales, Bernard Hopkins, Deontay Wilder for some reason. No, I'm playing, I'm hating. Just a bunch of people, right? It was just a bunch of people, but they had 3 different series, maybe 4, but 3 for sure. I have all 3. I was thinking about selling them too. That was the first check I ever made for writing. $400. Not bad. That's the legendary Don King. Dude, I gotta tell y'all, bro. Oh my God. I wanted to cry so bad, dude. So bad. Okay, y'all see Chris Areola right here, right? And y'all saw Don King, the champ, right there. So, in my career, let me stop this. Bro, by the way, where the fuck is the caller? Or what's his name? Oh, let me see if Miles can come on first. Okay, so throughout my career, I have a few regrets, right? I've met every boxer in the world except for Floyd Mayweather and maybe and Miguel Cotto. Those are the 2 people that I've never interacted with as a journalist. Now, I've met Floyd like as a fan, but the reason why I make that distinction is because throughout my entire career, we're going to talk about Unreal, Matt, for sure. Faux show. But real quick, throughout my entire career, I never took pictures with fighters. I never got an autograph. I never treated them like stars, right? I had a lot of good mentors, and the things that they told me, right? They're like, dude, this is a job. You need to make it a job, and it's going to be a job. And if it isn't, then you're not going to last. And, they would tell me, like, there are people that get credentialed that drink at ringside. There are people that get credentialed that come in smelling like weed at ringside. There are people that come in basketball shorts and a hat. Like, it's our job. You know what I mean? Like, it's not to be snobbish or anything like that. It's that this is a professional arrangement, right? We aren't fucking casuals bitching at each other about who's going to win. We are there to cover it from a journalistic bias, or from a journalistic standpoint, completely unbiased, no partisan. It doesn't always happen that way, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that I was put into a professional mindset from the moment I started covering fights. So I never asked for pictures. I never fanboyed. And the thing is that I found out like way later that everybody does to a degree, right? Like Dan Rafael has a whole treasure trove of fucking pictures with people at fights and, stuff like that. But I just never wanted to be looked at as a fan. And I think because I never got my journalism degree and I never studied journalism at that time, I was like very self-conscious about it. So anyway, no pictures, no nothing, right? Very, very little like footage and content from that standpoint. But what I did have was interviews. I worked as a content creator and videographer for the Boxy Voice for a few years. And I had every single interview that I ever recorded, right? Earl Spence, right after he came home from the Olympics. Earl Spence, one night he showed up to a Golden Boy card. George Foreman interviews, just so many. And the one that was like my not treasure, like anything weird, but the one that I always held back because I always wanted to edit it. I wanted to do it right and post it. I was one of the few people that probably still had the footage of when Chris Areola bitched out fucking what's his name? Don King. If you don't remember, Areola was fighting his fighter. It was a guy from Cut and Shoot, Texas. What was his name? Fuck. Perez? No. The Drummer Boy. He was fighting Drummer Boy in Corpus, and Drummer Boy's promoter was Don King. So Don King, now a lot of people don't know this aspect of the story. Don King, right, was first of all late as shit to the press conference, but before he got there, he was doing an interview, like a real quick, like walking to the thing, and they just kind of threw the camera in his face with Spanish station, and he was unaware that one of the people in their news group was actually, I think, cousins or maybe like distant cousins or cousins by marriage to Chris. And he said some wild shit about Chris. And a lot of people didn't know that, right? So it was already bubbling like that. So then Don King started talking shit and like using words like wetback and like just wild words that he probably shouldn't have been using at all, or he definitely shouldn't have been using at all. And none of it was like bullshit. Like none of it was like him talking shit, like being racist, really, right? It was more like 2020s racism, right? Where it's like, you don't know it's racist and you didn't mean for it to sound racist, but it is, right? Like I'm telling you it is type shit, right? And Chris Areola proceeded to bitch out Don King, like in front of all of us in like a super awesome way. It was hilarious. And then he did it again at the fight. If you'll recall, he cursed, and Gray, who's doing the interview, who was always a little bitch about cursing, he's like, none of those words, please. Like, Gray, in 2 hours after this boxing match is done, Showtime is going to show like 4-hour blocks of softcore porn. I don't think Chris's, F-bomb is going to destroy our country, right? You're on a network that is known for its soft porn and that only rivals Cinemax, and you're over here like trying to check his language. You know what I mean? It was just weird. I don't know. Shout out to Gray. He's one of the best, but anyway. Yeah, dude, they're all gone. All the videos, they're all gone. I had a old, very, very old external hard drive that was like a 5 terabyte or some bullshit, and it's corroded. I'm gonna take it in. I'm gonna see if I can get it fixed. It's not worth like a lot, right? Because like a lot of this stuff was just for my sentimental value. Because believe me, I would have posted a lot of that shit. But the good thing is I did find other videos for more modern times. I have a couple of interviews with Emiliano Vargas and his dad together, his mom. I have some Bernardo Suna and ESPN stuff, Tim Bradley, that was never released because it was always for like stories, writing. I always recorded my interviews with people, even when I wasn't doing work for videography. Like when I was working for NY Fights, I didn't have to do videography. They didn't have it set up that way. So I didn't need it, but I would do it anyway because, I have a shitty memory. Quotes are something that I learned very early on. Do not fuck up. Do not fuck up a quote. And the reason why quotes get fucked up is because people get lazy, If I say, listen, I think that Punk is definitely going to lose this weekend because compared to Gunther, he's a little weenie. If you don't have that verbatim, what you going to do, bruh? If that comes out and it looks like I said, yo, Gunther's going to beat him because, Punk has a little penis. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's how easy it happens when you don't write it down. Like, I don't know. Anyway, all of it gone, bro. All of it gone. All those interviews, man. But anyway, I do have some other stuff, so I'll be posting that shit coming up soon. But let's talk about Unreal. Let's get back into it, man. Bro, you're a bitch for that. That's funny. What'd you send me? me see. Oh yeah, no, I've been talking about the Astros all show, champ. They're doing some amazing stuff. Hey, I'm on live now, and so are you now.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No, what's up? Just tell me.
No,
Do you
I
need
was
it to
calling
be?
you back because
What?
what?
Oh, you were just calling me back.
Mhm.
I was trying to get a bunch of people to come through for today's show so that I could clip everybody's picks. So like I had Amin come through and a few other people plan to come through, and then Anthony's gonna tap the boys in to make their predictions. So I was just gonna see if you could come through to make your predictions on air so that I could clip them. But if you're busy, it's not a big deal.
Predictions for what?
For SummerSlam,
Oh
duh.
yeah, okay.
Okay. Well, I if I didn't send you the link, I'll send it to you right now. Oh, also, we're gonna talk about Unreal. I wanna hear what your thoughts are.
Okay, I haven't finished watching it.
I haven't finished watching it either. It's okay. We can talk about what we know.
Okay, I'm gonna finish dinner.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I see it here, champ. But this isn't the article. The link you sent me isn't current because there's like 4 trades that just happened like an hour ago. But listen, I'm going to put it this way. It's not that I think Correa sucks. He doesn't suck. Okay. And for what people have to understand is that, like, as a shortstop, he's so much more valuable. So to bring him over to play third base because we lost Isaac, I don't think it matters. Like, if we win the World Series, no one's going to say it's because Correa trade. It's because of the Correa trade. It's not going to happen. Like, he's batting 270, which is right around his career average, but he has 7 home runs and 0 stolen bases. And he was never a burner on the base paths, but I don't know, dude. Like, you lose a guy in Paredes who is a home run machine and literally so dangerous power-wise to right-handed hitters. Usually like guys like him are far more capable of launch angles and power from the left side, but he is one of those very rare righty on righty power guys. So it was fucking good, dude. It was really, really good. Correa in Cleveland sucks. Correa in Houston is different. Culture is everything. I agreed. There's nothing that you said that is incorrect or that I would disagree with. However, I would also say that culture shifts, right? And this isn't the same team Correa was on. Houston is not the same team. And don't get me wrong, he's going to be welcome back because there's too many people from the clubhouse and from the winning eras that remember him and remember everything that he contributed to the team. So, of course, you're absolutely right from that perspective. It's not the same team. Like, what he does well, we don't really need. Now, we need a third baseman. We need some more infielders, and that helps out from a general standpoint. But he is not the missing piece to, like, if we would have gotten Eugene Suarez, bro, that's it right there. We might as well be considered the number 1 contenders for the World Series. Like, if we would have landed Suarez in that trade, bro, if we would have, and by the way, I don't know if y'all know, Suarez got fucking traded to the Padres. Bro has like 30 something home runs already. He was on pace for like 72 right before the All-Star break. Okay. So my man has been crushing them, plays third base, right? Correa is just not valuable as a third base. Like, if he was coming back because we lost Pena for the year and he's going to play shortstop, maybe I would be happy about it, or, I would probably be way more optimistic about it because of what he's replacing. But what we need is what Isaac produced. We don't need 0 stolen bases and seven runs. By the way, Minnesota sucks. What happened to them? So anyway, let's get into this Unreal conversation because it is unreal. Dad joke number 1. First of all, you keep asking who I'm picking for SummerSlam because you said I didn't say. I'm going to make my picks official, and then I'm going to post them on TikTok. Does your favorite combat sports content creator do that? Probably, but I guarantee he's not right as often as I am. But I'm wearing the Peacemaker shirt. I love giving Easter eggs. Please look for the Easter eggs. Cena. I want Cena to win. I think he should win. Also, I've got a couple of these bad boys. They are they're on canvas, and they come with a little easel too. We're gonna be doing like giveaways from starting this weekend up until Canelo Crawford. Huh? Yeah, raffle is what I meant to say. I don't know what I did say. Let me see. It's a chess move. Mario got to factor in that huge list of players on the IL that'll come back just in time. That's what I'm saying, though, Matt. That I'm not saying Cray is a bad move. Not at all. It was a necessary move because injuries necessitated us to fill that position. And you could have done a lot worse than Correa. My thing is this: where are the Astros right now, and what do they need to fulfill becoming that top, team that wins the World Series? I mean, they're already power ranking gods, so it's like whatever, fuck whatever. They're already on that mission. So it's going to just be the littlest twink. Pause. It's going to be the littlest twinkling to it, to the roster, for it to be a World Series caliber team. I think that if we were to have gotten a starter, like a capable starter or somebody who could do long relief and do spot starts, that would have gotten us way closer to the World Series team that we are than Correa. That's just my opinion on it. I could be wrong. And like you said, culture changes everything. Correa could come back here, realize that he don't like having his balls shrink up in the cold weather, and he misses, Mexican tacos, breakfast tacos. Like, that could be that, you know what I mean? But we'll have to see. Matt said, Cena's doing the job, brother. Damn, dog, you think he is for real? Oh, man, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're dumb or anything like that for making that. I'm pretty close to 50-50 on this one. Usually I don't like calling things 50-50. I feel like it's lazy, but in this case, I really think it is. And if you were to argue 60-40 for either one of them, I could be, very, very, I don't. Okay. From watching Unreal, and again, I said at the very beginning of the show, and I'll say it again, I have not finished it. I haven't finished the last episode, nor did I finish the full second to last episode. So I'm a little bit behind on it fully, but from what I've seen on there, they never had plans for none of this shit. Never. And not only that, what that show has shown me, they change all the time. I don't think for the last 10, 15 years, maybe even longer, Matt, I don't think that this has happened, this scenario, right? Okay, let's say it's June, okay? And SummerSlam is August 15th, right? We're in June, August 15th, so we got at least like 8-10 weeks left, right? This doesn't happen where they go, okay, guys, look, got SummerSlam. We're going to start booking it now. What are you guys' thoughts? 3 hours, 4 hours roll by. Okay, guys, I love this meeting. 4 hours went by like that when you come up with ideas like you guys just did. So we're settled. We are going to have John Cena take full control of the Wyatt Six by telling Alexa Bliss that he will marry and have a baby with her, unlike Nikki Bella. And then that is going to get us to Money in the Bank, which will then get us to SummerSlam. Like, that doesn't happen. And if it does happen, it's changed within an instance at any point. What's up, baby girl? You're on live.
Did you see Trump? We were watching the news today. Did you see Trump was talking about the Epstein files and Triple H was there?
Shut up, for real?
Yeah, it came out. It's on the news. Triple H was right in back of him.
Yo, send me a picture of the.
Well, it just okay.
Okay, bye. Hilarious, dude. If you're Triple H, the amount of things that you don't want talked about at that moment, that the e-files definitely got to be high up on that list. Yo, that's crazy. Watch, it was all supposed to be like some like super like wholesome like WWE like Make-A-Wish thing. Like one of the reporters asks about Epstein and fucking Trump goes off. That would be hilarious. That show has shown me that Triple H has had the right idea of other people influencing him. Oh wait. Okay, hold on, let me start this again. That show has shown me that Triple H has had the right idea of other people influencing him. Okay, wait. There's a period missing, so I'll figure it out. That show has shown me that Triple H has had the right idea of something. Other people influencing him is what's fucking it up. So the right idea thing is the only thing I don't have clear, but the influencing others fucking it up, absolutely, 100%, Matt. And I don't think we needed this show to infer that. In fact, I think you inferred that a couple times over the course of Road to WrestleMania. That said, though, for me, it has shown me that anything and everything is debatable in terms of changing it. And there has not been a moment in the last 10, possibly 20 years where, like I said, the scenario that I rolled out where it's like Vince and, fucking Triple H and I don't know, Jim Cornette, whoever, right? And they're all sitting there and they're like, okay, this is the plan and this is what we're going to do. Those meetings happen and those things come out of those meetings. But after watching this show, okay, after watching Unreal, I am convinced that in the last 2 decades, maybe even longer, they have not taken an idea from locked in to completed. Never. It has not happened in I don't know how long. And maybe you can make the argument that it's never happened that way, but that's not true either. Bret Hart and Lex Luger didn't just flip over the top and become dual winners on accident. The Rock and the Giant, Big Show didn't do the same thing except completely botch it on accident. Okay, it was all on purpose. This was all intentional. It was all storytelling. It was all meant to lead up to something or another, and things happen. Just like the WrestleMania 9 documentary showed us, where Bret Hart agreed to allow Hogan, to do the job for Yoko and Hogan and have Hogan reign on top. But why? Because SummerSlam was supposed to be Hogan versus Bret Hart. But it wasn't, because Hogan was a selfish piece of crap, and I'll never forgive him for this, and decided to ruin WrestleMania 9. Yoko would end up taking the belt and they'd end up doing that. But my point is that today, nothing is sacred. Everything can change, right? You know what makes me mad though, Matt, about this shit? They made such a big deal about Liv getting injured. Like, oh my God, this ruins Evolution 2. What are we going to do? Oh my God, the show was fucking perfect. We had everything. We're going to win a fucking Emmy. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Liv was in a match with Nikki Bella. That was the program. Fine. Raquel's in there. Maybe throw Roxana Perez. That wasn't the whole card. That wasn't even close to the whole card. And if your idea was like solidifying some tag team match for the belts with Nikki Bella, like what? Why? What are you doing? Why did you even bring her back at this point? Like, to suggest that Liv ruined not only Nikki's comeback, but the rest of everything in the dominoes that fell down after that injury. No, you're lying, Trips. You're lying. Or whoever wanted to let that fucking story out there. You're lying. All Liv did was mess up one aspect of the story that, guess what, probably would have been changed anyway. Constant changes. Constant second guessing. Tell a story and let it suck or let it work. But don't manipulate us and try to manipulate us into liking things. Canella got scared. She thought I was mad. I'm sorry, baby girl. I'm not mad. I am at Triple H. I am tired of seeing a band on the verge of making musical history with some of the most beautiful ballads and renditions I've ever heard in the music sphere, only for the manager of the band to come in and fuck up the whole recording and be like, no, it needs to be more like the Jonas Brothers. No, it needs to be more like Shakira. No, make it more like Taylor Swift, like commercializing it, trying to capitalize on trends. Bro, y'all remember how bad the 2010 started with fucking Vince McMahon, who I think finally got an Apple phone and was like on social media for real, like not just some fucking intern showing it to him on his face. Because remember, Raw, dude, they had fucking cats with millions of followers on there. They had like, they would try so hard to capitalize on these gimmicky internet trends, bro. That's what would happen. And that's what would happen all the time. And that's what feels like is happening now. It's like, we got Travis Scott. Don't worry, we got Travis Scott. Here comes Travis Scott. Oh, it's great. We love Travis Scott. Here comes Mania. Man, Travis Scott fucked that up, bro. That all sucked. Oh, it did? It did? Here's Jelly Roll. Here's Jelly Roll. Do you like Jelly Roll? We like Jelly Roll, right? Everybody likes Jelly Roll. Like, yo, stop trying to like box us into a corner to like shit. Like, make it good or scrap it. But stop trying to manipulate us into this thing. I don't know. What's going on, Machine Gun?
Yo, what up? Yo, I just got audio right now for a sec, bro.
Oh, you couldn't hear me?
No, I said me, just like me. I mean, I'm only
got
gonna be
you.
audio
My
for a
bad.
second. I'm only gonna be audio, so you gotta help. You don't gotta hold me up there.
Got you. All right, champ. Let's
But
hear
you
it.
got me
First
though.
of
Am I clear?
Yeah, you're clear. Perfect. You
All right,
sound
cool,
great.
cool.
I want to know your fantasy booking for sure. That's the more important thing. But I really want to hear what you think of Unreal, because I think it's a very layered thing. First of all, did you finish it?
Yeah, I finished it. I liked it. And you're missing the big picture here, Mario, about that whole show. You know what the main point of that Triple H was trying to prove? None of this is my fault.
Yo, no.
None of this is my fault. Because it's like I was trying to say in the comments. He has the right idea. He needs to stop taking so many questions in the room. He needs to be more like Vince in that aspect of, we're going to do it like this. Here's how I want to do it. Y'all go figure it out.
That's actually a really fair point. And that was one of the more, what's the word? Like foundationally supported things that Vince did, right? Like you could count on him for that. And it was a good thing, right? As opposed to what would end up happening later in his career, where it was just scrap.
Yeah, at some point Vince lost his touch, but early on Vince McMahon knew where he wanted to go, and he knew what the ending of the movie was. You just had to help him get there. That's all he wanted. That's what Triple H needs to do. Because when you look at that WrestleMania 41 card that was supposed to be when all of us freeze framed, that's what you wanted. You want those two ladder matches. You want Gunther. What they're doing at SummerSlam right now is what they're doing, what they were gonna do at WrestleMania. And then
I agree.
Like the obvious one to me, where like you shouldn't take everybody's idea, and the wrestler involved kind of agreed without agreeing, was having Jey Uso win the Royal Rumble. Jey Uso did not need to win the Royal Rumble. The correct answer was everybody else in the room, Cena or Punk. But then fucking Michael Hayes, of all people, which when I said this out loud to my brother yesterday, it made more sense to me. Mario, you know who Michael Hayes is and what he's famous for, right? In his wrestling career. Part of the Fabulous Freebirds, right? Tag team wrestler.
Yep.
When you're a tag team wrestler, the biggest accomplishment you can have, not only outside of a successful singles run, is a world championship. And who did Michael Hayes recommend win the Royal Rumble? A tag team wrestler in Jey Uso. Even Paul Heyman was like, Jey Uso, I don't know. Paul Heyman had just worked with him closely for 2 years. Yes, he's hot right now, but he's not ready. He does not have the literal stamina to hold that title yet. Not yet.
I like the way you're reading between the lines in this whole thing. I really, really do. But it still brings us to the point where we are now, right? And I want to put it like this, Matt, and you tell me what you think. And shout out to Fundy Fly, who I see there, who I'm pretty sure is a big Fedora fan. I think that if you go down history, right, and you look at the timelines of things, there have been dramatic things that have been affected dramatically when it comes to this inside baseball, shoot work, stuff. When that ABC show came out with the guy who exposed magicians, exposing wrestling, that was a big moment for wrestling. A lot of things changed. The night that, and I had said this earlier, the night Vince went out there and screwed Brett, the wrestling industry changed forever. And then the night when he went out in front of Raw and the cameras and said Brett screwed Brett, that had a dramatic impact. Every single time that we've flirted with this fourth wall, it has had not just an impact, but a complete changing of the institution of wrestling as it relates to its fans. And we've become smarter, right? We've become more knowledgeable. We know more about how things work. And therefore, Matt, and I might be wrong about this, but therefore I believe we can't appreciate it like we used to anymore, because we've been told so much, because we know now we can focus on Triple H's and The Rock's decision to not send The Rock out there, as opposed to actually thinking about what it really would have meant for The Rock to go out there and how you limit the story, just certain things. And that's probably a bad example because it was just stupid either way. But the only point I'm trying to make is that it feels like every time we've pulled the curtain up higher and higher to expose the business, the fans' response has been, and again, subconsciously probably, has been, I don't like what I'm seeing anymore, because now I know how it works. Now I can complain about other stuff. Now, Amin made a point that his son had made earlier on the show. Shout out to Amin. He said that, basically like his son Ty likes it. He really, really likes it. And he enjoyed it. And he said something that made me realize, well, this could also be a thing that opens it up to fans so that fans can now appreciate, like, oh, this is how they do it. This is how they, so maybe it opens their eyes and they're able to appreciate smart booking from now on. But Matt, tell me if I'm wrong that those exposing of the business moments have had a detrimental effect on how fans view creative.
I don't think so at all, because kayfabe has
Really?
been dead.
Come on.
Kayfabe's been dead for a while, Mario.
And I'm talking about, I'm comparing.
I'm talking about since AOL chat rooms. That's how long that shit's been dead. We all know how this shit works, but what you want to know is how somebody's brain works, and that's what I think is the interesting aspect. Because Mario, how cool was it? It's not even cool, but so like interesting to hear the group of guys in the Elimination Chamber break down the psychology of their match and how it worked.
Oh my
You could
God,
hear the
really cool.
CM Punks, the John Cena's, the Seth Rollins, the Damian Priest, the guys that know what they're doing. I want to know how they think. So not only like it's not necessarily showing me how hot dogs are made, but it's showing me how we go about creating the things to make the hot dog. Why we're doing it this way.
It's showing you how the weenie comes together. It's showing you how the company presents the big, sale or special on hot dogs that they're going to have. I think that's a brilliant way of putting it. First of all, I love that metaphor, especially because my dad, he's worked in the convenience store for a long time. That metaphor makes way more sense than you might even realize. Right. But I got to ask you this though, right? We've heard that the reason this show is even existing is based off the back of the power of things like Total Divas. And I'll never forget the power that Total Divas had, right? Because my niece, who liked wrestling at the time, right? She liked it as much as any little girl who barely understood what was going on. But once Total Divas came out, and even though I thought it was totally inappropriate for her to be watching it, once Total Divas came out, she had a different appreciation for the sport. And she started to love women's wrestling far more than men's. And it was because the E channel, it opened the program up in a way that the gay market, the young women market, all these, this market that's never appealed to wrestling, or wrestling's never appealed to really, it opened it up. It branched it out, right? And I think guys like Effie and a lot of other guys today are successful in the indies because of those shows. And that's what WWE was hoping to do, is create a show that fans of documentaries could tap into and say, oh, you know what? I will watch week to week. My problem is this, or not my problem, but what I want to ask you, Matt, is this. Total Divas was about John Cena not wanting to give Nikki a kid. It was about Brie Bella learning how to live in a world where she's now going to recycle her shit for the betterment of the earth. And there were great storylines. They were awesome, right? It was perfect for the E channel. This show, I feel like the best of it appeals to guys like you, guys like me. So is it fishing with the reel that's already catching the fish that you have? Is it not different enough to be hooking in a completely different audience? What's your take on that?
Mario, my take on that is this is the difference between Total Divas and what we got over this past week. Think about it like Hard Knocks, right? Hard Knocks takes you into the practice room, takes you into the players' helmets on game day, what they're saying as the game's going on, what they're saying as big moments in the game go on. As everything develops, being able to pick a high caliber athlete's brain makes the game that much more interesting. Like I want to know what CJ Stroud is thinking in the middle of a fourth quarter trying to rally a comeback and driving down the field. I want to know why he thinks the way he thinks and how he's thinking it. It makes the game that much more interesting because I get more involved in him. And when I see that and it matches the product on the screen, it makes it that much better. So like it goes into what they say with women's wrestling today. When they say that the women are far ahead of the men, it's true because they're far ahead of the women that were on Total Divas. Yeah, and it blows my mind that they thought that when these women were being trained, like the four horsewomen, right?
Yeah.
They were trained by Fit Finley and William Regal. How do they not know what to do at that point?
Exactly.
How do they not?
Exactly.
They're having some of the best psychology,
God.
some of the best matches out there when you look at them.
Dude,
However,
great job. Great job.
However, the women's wrestling still has a way to come because they still haven't secured that true main event yet, and they're getting there. But the fact that
Charlotte, but
they it's like to me, it makes like I said, it makes it more interesting because I want to pick these. I am very fascinated with picking people's brains on how they execute what they do so well. What goes through that mind?
I agree.
It's like with when CM Punk says he's CM Punk and he's Phil the Booker. I want to know what Phil the Booker is because I know Phil Brooks and I know CM Punk in the ring. I want to know what Phil the Booker thinks and how he breaks down his psychology, how he breaks down his spots, his finishes. And then when I go back and watch that Elimination Chamber, I'm like, holy shit, that worked out fantastically. That's great.
Great point, man. Honestly, you did enough there to bring me around a little bit more on that aspect of it. I do want to ask you about one thing specifically, but before that, Fundy Fly, any chance that you saw Unreal yet? Any thoughts you want to give us? If you're there, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I told you I watched the whole thing, and
I literally thought that you were Kins for sure. I thought you were Kins. There's no way I thought you were anyone but Kins.
yeah, this is Ken's. I'm a girl.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
Yeah, but I have I have a single opinion on it, but they're all different opinions of it, if that makes sense. But it all leads to like the same result. But I didn't mind it. I love the peeking behind the curtain. No, I like it.
You do.
I like it. And the way wrestling is going now, like back in the days of like Undertaker protecting the business and like he's literally portraying his character 24/7. That still happens. Like guys like MJF do it, but he's not a gimmick, he's just playing an asshole like he plays. But now I feel like nowadays that kind of has to come out because one, the whole reasoning behind, protecting the business, keeping everything kayfabe, like that's all old school thinking, and that's where all this like derives from. But it's like when this is the same thing of being like, oh, Santa Claus isn't real. Like what? That's like that it's not that kind of moment. And then
yeah, that's true. That's a fair point.
On top of that too, it's like this is them peeking the curtain back, like pulling it down, or however they said it, is the equivalent of like it's just these wrestlers are method actors, and that's what they're portraying in the ring. It's just
That's
a different
good point.
it's the same thing. We could talk about method acting. How do you get into character? How do you do this? How do you do that? Like it's the same exact thing. And I mean, like I personally I liked it, but the way wrestling and the business is going, like you can't you can't be this protect this business and like, oh, I'm a, like Thekla in AEW, like she's just not just gonna be a spider everywhere. She has to
Yeah,
have
no, that's
socials.
fair.
She has to be on
Okay,
Twitch. You have to sell yourself as a person and be, have an audience to grow of like, hey, this is my job. I turn into this
so
character, or however you want to,
I
portray it.
totally agree with
go
that
ahead,
too,
Matt.
because it's kind of like what he's leading into, and like what you said about when they expose magicians and magic. Like we know what it is, but the show and the execution of it still has to be good. Like you can still put on that thought of the illusion and the show and the spectacle. But if you have a lazy product, like we know Thekla's not a spider lady, but when she goes out there and performs as
Yeah.
well as she does, then you're like, damn, like this is how
You
can you
hear
not like it?
you hear about the Charlotte Flair being staged about when she won the Royal Rumble and all the girls were clapping.
No, for real.
Yeah, that Wrestle Talk has that on their video that the female talent specifically was asked to come out of the locker room and clap for her because like the story that they were telling on Charlotte, we all know Charlotte's a bitch. Like it's clear, and she's the one that went off rail and off script, and Tiffany basically is she's gonna hold her ground. She's the champion. Like that should be her her mental state. Like you're not gonna fucking go off script on me and act like I'm not gonna say something back. And that's when it blew up. But Triple H, being the nepotism and everything in it, he's telling what's her name to apologize because he knows those last 2-3 episodes or whatever it was because of Charlotte. So why are we gonna bury Charlotte? So have these girls come out, act like she's just this perfect girl and nobody doesn't have problems with anybody. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
no, that
that
makes
that part was been reported to be staged.
damn, that's crazy. And see, okay, I'm gonna ask this question first to both of y'all before I go into what I wanted to go into with this. I'm not gonna even give you context because I want to know y'all's honest answers without me influencing it. Matt, I'll start with you. Is showing the actual plants in the audience not too far, or is it? Matt, you're on mute. Oh, maybe he's not there. Adam, or my bad, Mr. Fly. Your thoughts on that? On them showing actual plants? That's not too far for you?
That part actually surprised me. I was like, oh shit. Like he literally said extras. Like, and don't get me wrong, when I was in San Antonio for one of the AEW shows, we were talking to a bunch of people, and there was one group of people that were seat fillers. So they were like literally there
Oh,
to
no
because
shit.
they know that they don't want these random two seats just empty.
That's
So they're
crazy. I didn't realize
yeah.
they would do that.
I think they pay them too to do all that.
Wow, that's
But I,
cool.
I thought that was crazy to admit it. But I mean, obviously, there's part that he hit somebody like in the crowd. It was probably a plant. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
MJF literally, he did go off script and fucking throw a vodka in a kid's face, but obviously they squared that away. But I don't. It's not doesn't surprise me that they brought that up and actually pointed it out. That's the whole point of this whole documentary. But yeah, it was. I was like, damn, they're really like. We might as well just talk about like everything else that's happened with the business. That's basically the only thing that got left out with Vince and all that
for
shit.
real. For real. Matt, I don't know if you heard the question, but I was saying, is showing plants too far? Is that going too far and exposing too much?
No, because you got to think of the people that are watching the show. It's not like people like you and I. We know what's out there, and it's a lot of the only thing that I learned that I didn't know was the whole background and history of the gorilla position itself. But like showing me plants, like they show themselves on social media anyway. And you think I don't notice? Like we all suspect the
Yeah,
green shirt guy is a plant. We all suspect that. There's no way you got the same seats and same spot in every PLE. But showing me that, like I know seat fillers exist. Like those exist in award shows, those exist in man, like anything televised like that, they're gonna have fillers and they're just gonna be there. I know those exist. So to me, that didn't really do too much damage. The only thing that did damage to me, if you were gonna say anything did damage to what damage could be done, is the fact that how the writing room and how many people, the influence of the people that are wrestlers and former wrestlers and managers compared to the people that are just television people.
Random dudes like SP Creative. Like I was like, what the
Yeah,
hell? Who is that guy? What does he do? And they were all creative people, like at the top of the level. And I'm like, yo,
yeah.
what
Like
is their
in one
background in
scene,
wrestling?
like yeah, in one scene you got Bobby Roode, Paul Heyman, Michael Hayes, and Abyss, and then in the next
Oh,
scene you
Trips
got
and
three
him.
random guys in a suit. I'm like, what the like?
Yes.
Who are these guys? Why do they
And
have it?
like,
Why do their opinion matter?
bro, I am so glad you said that, dude, because you're right. It felt a little disrespectful to like me and the boys in the back when they were like, yeah, it's Netflix on Raw, we got Roman Reigns, but what are we gonna do? Send the Judgment Day out there? And it was almost like he was saying, come on, nobody wants to see the shitty Judgment Day go out there to face Roman. And it's like, yo, that's probably 1000% true, but like, yo, it's disrespectful of you to put it like that. Like, how real are we getting? Because if we're gonna be getting so real that we're going to be saying things like, yeah, dude, it's kind of crazy that everybody fucking hates Charlotte Flair. Like literally like all of us, we all hate her. The women, the men, her dad hates her. Like, is that going to be put in? Doubtful, right? How real are we getting? I will say this, right? Because Matt said the word, the only downside or whatever, however he put it. I'm going to put it this way, right? I think one thing that was really bad, I'm not criticizing the show, not at all. I've already said this, but I'm going to say it clear. The show I like. The show I think is good. What I'm asking now are the ramifications of the show going to have a negative effect on WWE? And here's one thing that I feel like may have a negative effect. Probably not, but it was at least not a good look optically. When Triple H goes to Jey Uso and basically tells him, I'm putting a rocket up your ass. You're going to go to Mania. You're going to be the champ. You're going to be it all. Are you ready? Are you ready to do this? Can you fulfill this role and be that guy? Are you ready? No, Triple H. Are you fucking ready? And the answer was no. You had zero plans. And that conversation right there showed me instantly, no, it was Trips and the creative. It was all of them. We could have said, hey, maybe Jay just didn't live up to their what they wanted. Maybe Jay just wasn't the guy that they needed right then and there. But that's not it. No, they went to him saying, yes, we want to put a rocket up your ass and send you to the moon after WrestleMania. That's what we want. We want this whole thing to be the rocket up your ass that sends you into a new orbit. But that's not a plan. You can't just say that and it's a fucking story. Okay? How? How are we going to do this? How are you going to push him beyond just the fucking yeets? How are you going to elevate him against an admittedly very over entrance, right? When Bray Wyatt was Bray Wyatt, he had one of the coolest entrances in the world. It didn't stop there. There were vignettes, there were different things. There was a lore to Bray Wyatt, and his universe ended expanding because of how fucking creative he is. Jey Uso is the exact opposite of the kind of booking like Bray Wyatt. Jey Uso was said, you sell shirts, you have a catchy song, and they all sing when you go out there. Be that guy. Just be that guy, knowing that it would never be enough. Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, the list goes on and on and on of faces that end up washing out because you can't be a face forever. Hulk Hogan's longevity in this business only lasted because he portrayed one of the best heel characters and turns in the history of wrestling. So I ask you real quick, Matt, and Adam, I'm going to go to you next. Do you not see the problem with showing us the moments that we've all for years only ever speculated about, only to get a definitive look at those moments and now have the ability to go back and piece together what we think happened, leaving the narrative with us to decipher and not WWE? What are your thoughts on that?
Here's what I think about that, Mario, and I think it's a little different than how you're looking at it, to how I'm
Okay.
looking at it. With Jay Uso specifically, and it was said in that little meeting they were having, they wanted to capitalize on a moment, similar to like what TNA just did with Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry was hot. Joe Hendry was white hot right then and there. He was rising on his own. Same thing with Jey Uso. Jey Uso was hot. Jey Uso was, he had the crowd in his hands, and people see it. But the more experienced guys and the guys that have been around, top guys, knew he wasn't ready. Look at the people that questioned him. Paul Heyman questioned it. Triple H questioned it.
And he said that
Fucking
too.
Billy
Yep.
Kidman. Billy Kidman questioned it. They were like, "Hey, are you sure Jey Uso?" And they're like, and then that's when they gave their pitch. And they're like, "Hey, he's hot. He's in the moment right now. It's you have to do it now. Everybody loves him right now. But what are you gonna do later?" And obviously, look,
Good
his
point.
flame ran out. His flame ran out on its own, Mario. And Jey Uso, admitted that himself. His flame, it burned quickly. He didn't have the stamina for it. Not like,
Oh,
literally in the ring after
oh my
burning
God.
himself out, but like to be the top dog, the world champion, takes so much out of you. Listen to how John Cena said it. It's every day. Every day. You don't just go home world champion. You got places to be tomorrow, appearances to make, interviews to have. And all that crashed down on Jey Uso. He wasn't ready for that. Yes, the difference between Jey Uso though and Hulk Hogan is Hulk Hogan knew how to stay over with the people in a crossover sense of it. You know, John Cena knew how to take over with the crossover. Cody Rhodes knows how to go with the crossover of it. Jey Uso does not. The Ultimate
Oh.
Warrior does not. Goldberg does not. You know,
I have so
they're
many
hot. They
notes.
sell merch. They're fan favorites, but they can't be the top guy.
Totally
And it's
understand
just
your perspective. I do want to ask you a point on it before I do, though. Adam, what are your thoughts on this conversation right now? Do you see it as a Jay Uso issue, more like Matt's painted, or do you see it more like, you can send him out there because he's on fire and the heat is real, but the creative and Triple H and those in power also have to fan those flames. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts?
I I think it's a little bit of both. I think that yeah, Jey Uso for the longest time has been hot. When they had him in, I forgot where it was it Germany or France, where it was just a fucking like
out in
looks
France,
like
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
like
that's
South
right,
Korea fucking
bro.
parties, like it was crazy. That kind of over is like you have to jump on it at that point. But
That's a fair
in
point.
in
You're
in
right.
in wrestling, like Jay should have been pushed because of that. Like you have to push your top sellers. Like it's just that's just what you do, regardless, even if it's a fucking mid card belt or whatever. But I feel like if you don't have a good story to tell with it, then this is exactly what happens. Like really, you just rush it, had him choke out Gunther. That makes no sense. Okay, he won, great. That doesn't mean just we're gonna just fucking sell out all of his merch now. Like, no, he got all hate online because of it. It's on creative because that's they need to. They're the ones that need to tell a story. If they would have told a story about maybe Gunther, you're saying he's you're always gonna be a tag team wrestler. You're never gonna be singles. Show that. Show the the ups and downs and the mental game that goes into it, and then have this defining moment to be able to do it. Same way they did with with Hangman, you know what I mean? Like, can he be the one to do this Texas Death Match? Like all this stuff, all the build up, all the storyline, the Avengers Assemble thing. That's storytelling at its finest. But they just screwed Jay over because it's just they just rushed it. It was like, okay, we're gonna push you, like you said, we're gonna push you. Here's the fucking belt. Like, do something. You know what I mean? That's not his
Well,
job. He's over.
that's
Like,
where I slightly disagree with you, though, not to interrupt you, because even Jey Uso said it in that show. It's the company is responsible for giving you a push, but it's on the talent to do something with the push. Similar to if I give you the ball, you have to take off with the ball. If you gain no yards, that's on you. If I give you the platform and the rocket and you don't know how to fly, that's on you for crashing the ship. I built the ship to fly. you don't know how to drive.
Yeah, I agree in that point as well. But same thing, like the way it happened, like Jey Uso's never been a submission artist, and all of a sudden he chokes out Gunther. It really takes the steam out of everything. Like, how can he be on the mic now? Like, yeah, I choked you out, bitch. Like, what are you
Dude,
gonna do?
you're
Like, he
absolutely
really has
right.
to call an audible on his own like persona and his own personality to justify what's happening. He can't just be like, yeah, I choked you out. Yeet. Like,
I agree with you
no,
fully.
I hate you
I
now.
agree with
You
you
know what I mean?
fully. And listen, I'm going to make this one point real quick, but I'm going to go to D style after this. I just want to make this point so that Matt, if you want to remember it, to comment on it. The way I see it, though, yes, you have to give the guy the ball, and yes, he has to run and spin and juke and hurdle. But if you're as the coach, you don't pull that guard. That's your job to make sure that that guard is pulled, to give him that alley, to give him that lane. And if you don't provide that lane, then no, he's screwed from the jump. But just sit on that for a second. D, what's going on? First of all, appreciate you for jumping on. And by the way, if you want to ever tap into the link, I don't mind you double screening. I mean, you have way more followers.
Sure.
So where we're at right now is Unreal has come out on Tuesday, the Netflix show, just ahead of SummerSlam, which is obviously, something they did intentionally. And it has shown so much of the business. If the show that came out on ABC when we were kids in the 90s that showed everybody how wrestling works and how they blade and how they punch and headbutt and all that was one of the worst things of exposing the business, this has to be the second. But we're in a different era. D, what do you think? Is this the time to show everything from behind the curtain, or is wrestling ruining itself?
Well, look. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. A couple of things. Look, we have to, I guess, acknowledge that it is a quote unquote different time. I'm trying to not sound like those old guys that hate even the curtain call, stuff like that. But
It's hard.
so it just is what it is. But I personally, it's just me. I don't like it's one thing if you break kayfabe. It's another thing if you go out of your way to break it. Like if it's starting to if behind the scenes stories and all that stuff is taking precedent over the actual storylines, that's where I have a problem. Now, many people will compare it kind of similar to like Hollywood and the movie stars, and they're always giving behind the scenes stuff. Maybe, but I just feel like this is just a little different. Wrestling has always been a little different. I've gone to many I like to go watch plays and stuff, and like they don't like no one breaks character in the middle of a play. For example, nobody does that. Like, you know what I mean? They don't give us an exclusive look on how they're doing the things and how they're doing these stories and how this play's gonna end. Like they don't really do that. Like the audience kind of knows what's up or whatever, and that's how I feel about this. I do like hearing shoot stories and shoot interviews from wrestlers. I do like I'm going to be honest with you, I do like that. But that's stuff that happened years ago. Like I just feel like everything they're showing they should delay it and reveal it later. They shouldn't be showing and I just think they're showing too much. We kind of know that there's a writing team. Well, we don't need you to go out of your way to to show us a little too much. It's this is beyond the fourth wall at this point, in my opinion. And I
Beyond
personally
the
like
fourth wall. Great line. My bad. Listen, I want to ask you though about this because they showed plants. They showed, like you said, the writing team. They showed us the moment that Triple H walked up to Jey Uso to tell him, "We're putting a rocket on your ass with the title for Mania." These moments, you said it. I think you said it best when you said there's a time to do it, right? Like WrestleMania 9, one of the biggest documentaries that came out on Peacock decades after it was a shit show, right? Same thing here. I agree. Do you think though that there could be a positive change though, like in the sense of all the little kids that are watching this show now, maybe they develop a better understanding of the show and how it's produced? Or do they start looking for the fucking plants? Do they start looking for these people that are in the show?
Look, they're already complaining that the fans don't act like fans. I mean, I always hear this complaining from a lot of talent and
Triple H.
if you smart up the fans, right? you're not going to really get fans that just watch something and just enjoy it for what it is. You're going to get fans that talk about what should have been done, how it should have been done, this should have been done. And they're looking at it from a different perspective. If that's what they want, sure, okay, fine. You know what I mean? But again, the very first thing I said was, I know I'm risking sounding old and grumpy, but I personally just don't like. I just don't like to break into the kayfabe. I just don't. If just throwing names out there, if John Cena wants to have his personal Twitter account, I don't have a problem with that. But have a different account for that. Like, don't use your John Cena persona to tweet about your personal life. That's just me. I just personally don't like it. I just don't like them revealing like that they're a couple, whoever, and there's nowhere on screen that shows you're a couple. I'm just not a fan of that, personally. And I also I just think like the best way I could put it, and a friend of mine put it this way a long time ago, and it made all the sense in the world to me. It's kind of like going to Disneyland, and then all the characters, all the Mickey Mouses and Snoopy's walking around. They take their mask off, and they just start walking around that way. All of a sudden, Disneyland doesn't feel like Disneyland, does it? If Mickey Mouse takes off his mask and Snoopy over there takes off his mask and her boyfriend and girlfriend and they start kissing in the middle of Disneyland, all of a sudden it doesn't feel like that's Mickey Mouse and Snoopy. Like that's just two people. You know what I mean?
That is the best metaphor that I've heard to explain that. I already have that clip because I'm definitely clipping that and showing the scene of Chuck E. Cheese being arrested. Matt, first of all, if you want to respond to the whole thing about pulling guard and all that and how much falls on Triple H, but I asked you earlier if you think that a different set of people can watch this show that aren't wrestling fans and become a wrestling fan, right? Specifically, do you think that's the case with this show? Can this show have a total diva style effect on the overall product?
I don't think so because I think they're still talking to the group of people that already watched the show. I think what you got to think back to what this is kind of what Vince Russo was doing, except he's not telling you that the show's fake as the show's going on. You know what I mean? Like Vince Russo's booking was openly during the middle of the show. Hey guys, this is all bullshit anyway. Who cares? But when you think of what they're doing here, they're just trying to show you like, hey, this is how this works. This is why we make these decisions. And going back to what was said just a second ago, like yes, like it's hard to say. Don't show me they're not a couple when I go on Instagram and I see that these people are a couple. You know, like I know Rhea Ripley is married to Buddy Matthews. I know that. I know that Nikki and John Cena were a couple. I know that Dominic has an actual wife that's not a wrestler. But it's the fact that not that if we're exposing kayfabe because like I said, kayfabe has been dead. We know what goes on. Look at all the insiders that reveal things on Twitter every day. We know we're in here debating what's a work and what's not. And even in this show, what's a work and what's not in the show. I think what the main point they were trying to get across was to people in the IWC stop trying to book the show and just watch the show. And that's pretty blatant and stupid that they want you to do that. But that's kind of what they're saying is to just stop trying to book the show and just watch the show. This is how we're doing it. This is how we think. But in a sense of going back to if that guy doesn't pull guard, I gave you one of the best linemen we have in Gunther to block for you, to help. If you can't have a good rivalry with Gunther, I don't know what to tell you.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point. Adam, I want to ask you something that Dee just said. This is a really, really great point that I did not think of at all. Okay. Now, I'm going to paint it like this. In fact, it was Dee who told me. I was literally about to say, somebody told me this, and now I just realized it was Dee. Dee South told me this earlier. He said that when you go back and you look at the John Cena turn, it was shit. It was boring, it was obvious, and it was filled with all of the tropes that we've ever understood or seen in wrestling. And yet, it fucking worked. It worked despite being the most basic bitch turn in the history of wrestling, it was effective. The reason why it was effective, and this is the question, Adam, that I want to ask you, that D prompted. The argument right now is like, okay, there are real storylines, and then there are kayfabe storylines. We know the difference now. This isn't the 80s or the 70s where we don't know what's real and what's not. We know now. Should WWE be using the real storyline? Shouldn't they be using the fact that TKO is taking over? Yes, they've done the corporation angle stuff before, but this is different. Okay. No, they don't have to send Ari Emanuel out there. They don't have to get that real with it. But shouldn't there be a connection from what we're seeing on social media, from what we're being forced to know, and what's going on in the ring? We knew that John Cena was never going to turn heel. We knew that that was a thing. There was such a major storyline in his career in all of wrestling because that's what they wanted. So when he finally did it, it didn't have to be super great because it worked as a story. Adam, should WWE be utilizing more real storylines, or is that never a good idea?
At this point, I think, yeah, they should. But by releasing this documentary and pulling down the curtain, which kind of going back to that, I was kind of still thinking about it, and it's it reminds me that of just like the NWO, the start of the NWO days. So it's like as right now as a parent who has a kid that's interested in wrestling, loves wrestling, I wouldn't want them to see this because it just I feel like it might ruin everything for them. But at the time when we were watching, Scott Hall, you know who I am, but you don't know I'm out here. That was like, holy shit, they're invading. They're not supposed to be there. Where's security at? But at the time, there's people that are our age now. They're like, yeah, of course he's fucking there. Don't you know that his contract was up with the WWF? Like, of course
Yeah.
he's gonna be here. And that's what all these shows are now. It's just everybody, and it's all for the better of wrestling. Like the way that they tell these stories now is like cinema. Like it's just they literally hire like Hollywood writers and stuff because they know how to tell a good story, and it's up to Triple H and these other guys to translate that into stories in the ring. You know what I mean?
Well said.
Can Hogan lift up Andre the Giant? No, he's tried several times. How would he ever be able to? And then in that moment to do it in front of all those people in the biggest moment possible, that's a fucking story. As simple as that is, it's a fucking story. And yes, I believe like peeling it back, like seeing how everything's done for a kid's perspective, yeah, I would be like, what the shoot? It's gonna get a lot of kids uninterested. Like, what the hell? This is all fake. Like, I thought he was real, But for adults and people that are like know kind of how it works, I don't see the issue with it. But at this point, WWE has to go all in on it. They have to like. I mean, will they be? Will Charlotte agree to be talking about her personal life and 3 divorces and all that stuff? I doubt it. But other stuff that's going on, they've already been slightly, hinting at it with the whole Punk and Rollins thing. They literally said it. They hate each other, and in real life and everything, all the scuffles they got into. Like, honestly, I think all of this is just trying to just get that foot in the water of bringing Brock back. They want to bring Brock back so bad, and they're
Yo,
just testing the waters by
that's a clip
saying
right
beast,
there.
and they're
That's a
saying
clip right there. Hell yeah.
adding little beast comments and this and that, and like
No,
let's
no,
just
no.
see where
I
everybody's at with
see
this.
I see it for sure. I've been actually thinking that. D, I want to ask you because we had a short part of this conversation earlier, and I really wanted you to talk about it. As long as I've known you were a wrestling fan, right? Or at least at some point in your life you were a wrestling fan. You knew way too much about certain things that made me realize you were never a casual. However, I also knew that you had fallen out of, hell yeah, LWO, baby. I also knew that you fell out of love with it to a degree. And I also knew that there were aspects of the sport, that you didn't like and kind of turned you off from it. But you kept up. You knew what was going on with Cody. You knew, and when Roman Reigns and Cody, you were one of the only people I knew that picked Roman Reigns and thought that that was the right answer. And you might have been, actually, you were 100% right. It ended up making Cody the better thing. That said, why aren't you paying attention right now? Why aren't you, why don't you know what's going to happen at SummerSlam? Why aren't you excited about it? And if you didn't watch SummerSlam and you heard Cody turned, would that be
Well, let me go
something that
full
made you
circle
watch
with
again?
it.
Go ahead.
So just to go a little full circle with it, right? there's a lot of things that got me tired of watching wrestling. Like, well, one thing, this could be petty or whatever, but I got tired of watching and like every other match, the announcers are talking about how this guy is a 4-time world champion. This guy's an 11-time world champion. This guy's a 10-time world champion. This guy's a 5-time world champion. Like, everybody in the fucking roster is a world champion. They were doing 50-50 booking for years. There was no established guy. They weren't really following the blueprint that they had for years. The top draws and the guys that people wanted were not being put on top. Like, if I'm honest, John Cena, I like Cena, but he was on top way too long. Like, and he was kind of being rejected by the crowd. Him being turning heel, it's like 10 years too late, bro. Like, it's how I feel about it, right? And Roman Reigns, they did the right thing by turning him heel. Like, I think they learned from the John Cena thing. Maybe Roman was a little more open to it. To be honest with you, Roman Reigns got me back into wrestling. I like the fact that they had an established guy. I think that's the way wrestling should be. For whatever reason, a lot of wrestling fans don't like that. They love 50-50 booking. I hate it. But that's not how it is. And I follow the Bret Hart philosophy. Book it as if it's real. That's how I see it. And wrestling is the only entertainment industry, the only one where the fans of that industry have a fascination more so, right? Like, they have, and I don't know if it comes from a place of what, because I remember growing up, and one of the first things people would always tell me when I tell them I'm a wrestling fan is, you know, it's fake, right? Like, well, of course I fucking knew it.
Every time.
Like, you know what I mean? But I think, like, people hearing that for so long, for whatever reason, the business, like, they go out of their way, like, hey, we don't pretend it's real anymore. We know it's fake. Look, let me show you how it's all done. This is the writer's room right here, and this is what this is, and this is where this is the gorilla position.
Cook.
And this guy's over here, and oh, we know it's not fake, guys. We know it's not. We know. Game of Thrones fans didn't watch Game of Thrones and worry about people wondering if they knew that the dragons weren't real. They just fucking enjoyed the show, and it was a good show. That's why people watched it. They didn't go out of their way. They didn't break kayfabe in the middle of fucking Game of Thrones, right? It's not what they did. Now, I'm not saying that those actors didn't live their own life, but like at the end of the day, they weren't going out. Like, you didn't go like watch HBO and then they're like, after the show, we're going to show you all the behind the scenes stuff. And that's what you really need to see. And we're going to show you the behind the scenes of the next show. We're going to spoil the whole thing. That's what we're going to do, because we want to, because believe me, we don't think dragons are real.
Yo,
right?
I never thought of that. I never thought of it that way.
It's the only entertainment business that the fans really need to prove to people that they know it's not real. Are we serious? Like, even when people say, oh, Vince came out and he just called it sports entertainment and revealed to it, but it wasn't real. Like, what do you mean? People always knew it wasn't real. Like, people always knew Bruno Sammartino wasn't really beating somebody up in the ring. People have always known that. Well, there's some marks, sure, right? But they've always known it. But they secretly, they enjoyed the suspension of disbelief. And that is what they have killed. It's not that they killed kayfabe. They killed suspension of disbelief that everybody gets in movies.
Fuck.
I watch movies with girls and they're crying. Like, they know it's fake, but it hits them in the heart. Okay, and they feel it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And the reality is, wrestling fans, they don't even want to allow themselves to feel a storyline, to enjoy a storyline, to maybe shed a tear for a storyline, to laugh at a storyline, to love a storyline for what it is. No, because they're too busy trying to prove to everybody that we know it's not fake. We know it's fake, guys. We know.
Dude, I feel like you're fucking talking about me. Like, I feel so guilty of what you're saying. I really do. Listen to me. I've never heard anybody say this. Never. And it's like fucking
when you go to Disneyland, right? And they have
no
the costumes
sport tries as hard.
Take your kids to Disneyland.
Prove they know it's fake.
Well, let me say this. Take your kids to Disneyland, right? Look, kids aren't that dumb. They know that's not really Mickey Mouse. Okay? They know that's not Goofy. They know that's not, Minnie Mouse. Maybe if they're like 2 years old or something, 3 or something, maybe 4, right? But anything above that, they know subconsciously that they're not real, right? But they still want to take pictures with them. They still want to enjoy their moment. They still want to enjoy the magic of the moment. That's what they want, right? But wrestling fans have forgotten how just enjoy the magic of wrestling. That's what's been killed. And the more they do this, right, the less and less you're going to get that magic back. All you're going to have is shock television. That's the only way you're going to be able to attract people. That's it. At the end of the day.
That's what wrestling became. That's what it fucking became when
all
that happened.
I slightly disagree with that though.
Go ahead, Matt.
Because you gotta look at where they
Oh,
You got to look at
real
where they
quick,
blurred.
It's just
You
less.
got to look at where they blurred real life and where they blurred storyline.
No, there's nothing
Look at
wrong
look
with
at the
blurring. Nothing wrong with blurring.
but that
I
but
think
that's but that's the what you were saying with the mixing of the
okay. So
man, what was the word you used?
why
Just
do less
the
people watch
speculation
wrestling?
though.
So why do less
You got
people
it
watch wrestling?
because it's as interesting as the TV show, like you said. Like, sure, they don't say The Walking Dead isn't real zombies, but The Talking Dead follows The Walking Dead after The Walking Dead is over.
that's a good point. That's a good
Then they
point.
talk about the show and they talk about the behind the
Sure.
scenes of the show and they show you the show. If you sit at the end of an Avengers movie, you see set
Yeah,
photos
but the
before the
Walking Dead isn't
mid-credit
going on
scene.
tour. They're not going on tour city to city trying to sell a story. Like
Yeah, that's
that's
That
true
they,
a little
too.
different.
but they're going on tour with a television show. That's what this is at the end of the day, is a wrestling television show, and where the storyline blends with reality. It's just like you're saying with Drew and Punk and Seth and Punk and Charlotte and Tiffany. You knew there was real problems, but then they curved everybody right back into kayfabe where you didn't know what was
Yeah,
real
but
and
here's the
what
thing,
was
though.
real.
Walking Dead fans, this is the point I think you're missing. They're not told, like, if somebody says, "Man, I really like The Walking Dead," and by the way, Walking Dead people lost a lot of interest in it. Like, it's not even popular anymore. Maybe that's one of the reasons. But that aside, nobody would tell people, "Hey, you know that's fake, right? Like, you think that's real? You really think that's
Bro,
real?" Like,
I never thought of that.
nobody
I
says
never
that
thought
to
about
them,
that
and they don't
aspect.
go out of their way to prove otherwise. The show wasn't doing The Talking Dead because they wanted to prove to people that they know it's not, like, oh, we know it's not real, guys. That's not why they were doing it.
But
I feel like in wrestling, that's why they do it. That's why
But people that watch CSI to like, hey, some of these are based off actual crimes, and you're just watching a zombie show. It's the same thing. They get the same criticism over there.
Yeah,
I know what I'm watching isn't real, but I want to see the entertainment side of it because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's entertainment.
you wouldn't
It's
say that
athletic
when
entertainment.
someone like let me put it this way. I've sat down and watched wrestling with people, and I've sat down and watched The Walking Dead with people. I was a big fan of The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, right? People have a suspension of disbelief when they watch those shows, right? They just do. Like, they're watching it and they're like, "Oh no, they're gonna kill him now." People lose their minds about it. It really got to them. People were bothered when Glenn was killed with a baseball bat. It really bothered them, like, because of the story, right? In wrestling, there's no suspension of disbelief that way, right? There just isn't. The closest thing they've come to, and it was like the longest thing ever, was Cody finishing his, like, closing the story. That's the closest they've come to capturing some magic of some sort. And that's why I felt like, no, they needed to make him wait another year to really make it work. And I believe I was right. And it did work. But that's the closest they've come. Like, my only thing is this, like, there's no suspension of disbelief anymore when I watch wrestling with people. And the last thing I was going to say was, I still, like, the last time I experienced that in any way, shape, or form with a group of friends was when The Rock wrestled Hulk Hogan way back in, that's how old I am, but back in WrestleMania 18, right?
Magic.
We all just, like, for whatever reason, we just started rooting for Hogan, even though in the back of the mind, we probably knew he wasn't going to win, right? We were jumping up and down. We were going crazy. We were getting into the match, like, all that good. And you could see it in the crowd, right? Since then, I haven't felt it here. There's no, like, well, maybe the Cody storyline a little bit, but other than that, I haven't really felt it here. Wrestling fans are scared of feeling it here, right? Like, it's almost like wrestling fans are almost ashamed. Like when people walk in and they're watching wrestling, they probably go out of their way to not like root for somebody in the middle of a wrestling match because they might be told, it's not real, right?
Yo,
like I think that's I just think that's a real issue.
But
crazy.
I feel
Matt,
like,
I'm
but
gonna
I
give
feel
you a
like
response.
in just this year, that's happened. Even me and Mario have said it on this show. That's happened. Mario, how many times have we come together after weeks of watching these shows and think like, yeah, we expected this and we knew what was going on, but they still got me. They
for
still
sure.
got me.
No, for sure. And the new
With the
day,
Jey Uso thing still got you. Jey Uso winning the Rumble still got you. Paul Heyman turning with Seth Rollins still got you.
yeah,
Naomi just cashing in her Money in the Bank still got you. That got you in the realm of disbelief. Like, I assumed, but then here's this. They got me again. And we've been watching wrestling for years.
I
There's
think you're
been
talking
plenty of
about
those moments in the
you're
past
saying
year
that
that
they surprise you with the result. Is what you're saying?
not surprised me with the result in the direction that they've started to take. They'll take their stories.
Right.
When you're not a result purely in just result of matches, but in just terms of where they take off with their stories from these points. Nobody
Bro,
expected these things.
I'll
Or
be
when
honest.
people
Well,
think the
that's true and
obvious
wrong,
answer is
but
the answer and it changes you.
wouldn't you?
When
Because
they
I've
when
always
they swerve us as an audience, and it's actually worked as a proper swerve, how they do it correctly. When it's done correctly, then it's obviously good. That's why I said I know magic isn't real, but if the show is executed properly and
Feels
effectively,
like magic.
I feels like magic.
It does. Yep. No, you're
well,
absolutely right.
look, I still
Listen.
remember like in high school when like us wrestling fans, right? Because we were seen as geeks by people, right?
Yes, I was saying Star Wars. It was like
And,
Star
and the
Wars.
way we would like prove that, like, oh, what do you mean? Like, yeah, it's like I remember like I would get mad when they would call it fake, and I'd be like, it's not fake, it's scripted. Look at what happened to mankind. He fell out of the cage. I would show that to people to show off how dangerous and real wrestling is, right?
Bro, I remember
That's
doing
and
that
a lot of wrestling fans have done
hard.
that. Like people would show them ECW shit going through fight tables,
Yeah.
training
Oh
tables
my
to
god.
prove how
I do that
real it
all the
is. And like
time.
my only point is this: I'm not saying there's never like good storylines. I'm not saying there's no good writing at all. I'm not saying that you're not going to feel it sometimes. I was telling you the last times I felt it, right? And all I know is that just in general, it's okay. Like my only message to wrestling fans is it's okay to talk about kayfabe. You don't have to disown kayfabe. You don't have to be above and too cool for kayfabe. Like you don't. It's okay to cheer for somebody. You don't
Yo,
have to be a 10-year-old kid to cheer for your favorite wrestler. You just don't.
this has
Because
been
people
one of
do
my
it
favorite
all the time with
combos.
other forms of entertainment, and I'm talking about fiction, like movies and
Absolutely.
shows. So it's just that's just how I feel about it personally.
Matt, I'll give you a response, but I'm gonna go to Adam after that.
No, and I completely agree. It's the same reason why we'll line up to go watch Sinners and Superman, Fantastic Four, and the Avengers. You can see you all understand what these things are, but we're still fans of it. But in terms of like a fan like myself, it's not that I feel too cool for kayfabe. I just know kayfabe doesn't truly exist anymore. Like the minute they exposed the curtain call, that's how you knew kayfabe wasn't real anymore. I knew that. Like, but that's just because
It exists a little bit,
when
right? Some of them.
I mean, but like it's like yeah, it still existed in a way. But then once you get more of like the Dave Meltzers of the world and the people in their collective that constantly they spread the words and all the newsletters, you hear the behind the scenes stuff.
I hate
And
that
then
shit.
when you start studying wrestling, like a fan in my position has, and you start reading books, you start listening to people's interviews and their takes on things and how things broke down. I understand. That's why to me it's more of like okay, I appreciate. I'm more looking into the execution of the storyline
How it goes down.
and
Yeah,
how it goes and
that's a
how it
good
works.
point. Yes, that's
Just
how
when
I
But
you're
like it as
it's like the
well.
same. It's like the same thing for me. Like sure, like you can spoil a movie for me. I still want to go see if the movie's good.
look. I
Well
could
said.
still watch. Look, I could look till this day, even though I know it's scripted, I know it's not real, right? I still get annoyed at the ending of the Iron Man match of Bret Hart versus Triple
Oh
HBK, and I
my
still think he was screwed
god.
over. I think he
Thank
should have
you.
retained,
Thank
and
you.
that's it. That's
Thank
it. And
you.
I'm not gonna, like nobody could argue with me about it,
Yes.
because that's the way I view it, right? Even though I know that was a storyline, that's the way I see it.
Somebody with the fucking bravery to finally say that other than me. Thank you, D. Adam, let me. I knew Matt couldn't wait to talk shit.
Look, the only because you're like I said, you have to if you go and listen to what Bret Hart said. He said he did that because he knew Shawn Michaels was gonna melt down and break down. He couldn't handle that. It's like the same thing they just said with Jey Uso. The people booking the show were like, "Are you sure?" I guess Shawn Michaels was hot. Shawn Michaels was one of the
Hey,
women loved him. They held their signs, but Bret Hart said it himself. I knew he was gonna crumble under the pressure and he
hey,
would fail.
Rikishi was the only one that thought Jay had a shot. Yeah. Adam, this to me is like one of the most important conversations I think I've ever had on the show when it comes to wrestling. What are your thoughts on some of the stuff that D and Matt have said? Do you think fans sometimes of wrestling make it too much of a point to show how fake they know it is, or how scripted they know it is? And on the other side of that, and thank you, Matt, by the way, you're always the fucking Mr. Alley Ooper, bro. The Superman movie, a lot of people hated on it because they felt like it was touching too close to real life, right? They compared Luther to Elon, they compared the president to Trump. You know, a lot of immigration conversation was in it, right? Which, I mean, I can't believe people would watch it like that. It sucks. But that said, there are a lot of people that said that they made a mistake doing that, that it would have been way more successful and popular had they not done that. Do you think that WWE, Adam, stays away from real storylines that involve them and things like that because of the risk of doing that stuff? Or do you just think that they don't have the ability to book that way anymore?
I don't. I think they have the ability to book that way, but they really want to sit on a fence when it comes to political views and all that.
Ooh.
Obviously, but
Sure.
I feel like for me, the whole all the behind the scenes stuff, whatever. I feel like for me, and I can watch and enjoy wrestling enough to really get into it. And D, I think you're hanging out with the wrong people. You need to watch wrestling with me and Mario because we're like all in on it. Like,
He
no,
hates
it's just
AEW too.
you hate AEW.
No, I didn't say I hate it. I said I haven't watched it. To be honest with
Oh,
you.
I see.
He-
Yeah,
and
but
I'm
it's
not
cool.
gonna
go.
judge it if I haven't sat down and watched it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
I
I've
see.
seen some stuff, but
You're not
wasn't a fan
missing
of it.
nothing on Wednesdays. Let me tell you.
I seen well,
I
actually, I
knew
have
Matt
seen.
was gonna say that.
I have seen some highlights. Well, wasn't a fan of it, but it's happened in WWE too. So
Man, maybe
some
you
of the
should
wrestling
start
is
watching
different.
AEW. You'll really start to feel.
I'm not a fan of constant super kicks, constant moves. I don't like when like
Cheers.
I am a
You like John Cena matches.
no, not even like it's
He doesn't like indie spot show
look,
matches
I
on
was like
TV.
Bret Hart was my favorite wrestler going on. I like the Dynamite Kid. You know what I mean? Like I think you should wrestle as if it's real, and sometimes it looks way too orchestrated. It just
So you
doesn't.
haven't seen Danielson Omega,
No,
the
I
hour
seen
long,
that. No, I seen Danielson before when he was in
but you,
WWE.
He
you
But
didn't
had
see
some of
them
the
rest.
he had some of the best matches in AEW that I think you would like, actually.
Oh, like the
Uh,
AEW
a-
just has everything. You like
D,
wrestling? Watch like MJF. Watch these other
have you
guys.
seen Osprey at all? D?
not sure.
No? Okay.
Oh
I'll send
man,
you a clip. Will Ospreay is probably like the guy that I would say AEW is still like that's the guy that could put a rocket on AEW's back. But listen, the last topic I have for the show, I want to get all of y'all's opinion on this and get a definitive statement. Matt, I'm gonna start with you, okay? The main event between John Cena and Cody Rhodes is going to take place Sunday, and it'll be the main event of all of SummerSlam, not just night 2, but the full show. And this is a rematch from WrestleMania. Now, WrestleMania was criticized heavily for the lack of Rock involvement, not just because of the star, they had plenty of stars there that night, but because he orchestrated the beginning of the storyline and then was not there to foresee its next conclusion. Now, Matt, the question I have for you this weekend, if you're Triple H, do you attempt to rectify the holes of WrestleMania by bringing in The Rock, by bringing in Jelly Roll, Travis Scott, making it as big a moment as you possibly can? Or do you keep The Rock as far away from this as you can so to not give the idea that WWE is constantly letting the fans book their biggest PLEs?
Look, if you want to close up some plot holes and fix some problems, yeah, you need to. That goes with my fantasy booking that could probably turn all this in the right direction. Because with this stipulation on the match of a street fight, this lets me know that Cody Rhodes isn't turning heel on Sunday. Because there's no rules. It's a street fight. He's gonna be able to do all these things. I think it's going to be
Good
something
call,
similar
bro.
to I think it's going to be something similar to that Kevin Owens match at the Rumble, where you just see he's more aggressive. And the same thing like when he had a match with Randy Orton at Night of Champions. You see Cody Rhodes being more aggressive, doing more certain things his character would not do. Now, like I said, to turn this around, there's an easy way to turn all this around and fix it and have The Rock come in for one night and leave.
Mm.
And the way you do that,
Finish the storyline.
right towards the finish of the match, you have John Cena with the belt again, but you have him looking into the crowd as if he is conflicted, as if he did listen to Cody, and as when Cody said, I want the old Cena, I want the super Cena, I want the Cena that would do this shit with integrity. You have Cena look right into that camera, right into the hard cam, and say, I'm done, I want out. And then you have The Rock come out. You got The Rock come out, you have The Rock shake Cena's hand, give Cena the throat slash, you get him speared by Braun Breaker, and Seth Rollins cashes in his Money in the Bank.
Yo, that is a booking and a half. I love it, bro. D, I'm gonna go to you next, Adam. After that, I spoke to you earlier. I know where you're at here, and that's really why I wanted to have you on, because I feel like you represent a very large portion of fans that would absolutely be tuned in this weekend had they delivered better creative. That said, I want to ask you the same question. If you're Triple H, you already know how terribly the WrestleMania went. Do you bring The Rock back? And also, the idea of a double swerve or a double turn, rather, has been floating around. Is that the ending to SummerSlam that you think could interest enough people to tune in on Raw and potentially keep them going?
I'll tell you what I would do. It's probably not going to be popular here. A lot of wrestling fans probably won't like it, but I think it would work. It's my opinion, but I would just straight up have John Cena dominate Cody Rhodes, dominate him, beat him clean, and everybody will be like, "What the fuck?" And that's it. And then people will be like, "Holy shit! Who's going to beat this guy?" That's what I would do. I would have it be a one-sided match. Cody have some moments, and then everyone's going to be bitching and complaining, but everyone's going to be talking about it. Right? It's going to make Cena look very strong, and Cena has to deliver an asshole promo the next night on Raw. That's what I would have him do, to be honest with you. Now,
so no schmoz.
I get that in the age of 50-50 booking, you can't do that. It needs to be a 5-star match or whatever. You can't do that. Heels can't win clean. Bullshit. I think one of the best things they ever did was when Goldberg beat Lesnar right away, and nobody saw that coming. And when Lesnar dominated John Cena, I believe it was at SummerSlam. I think you should just literally, no one's going to see that coming. Nobody, no one, literally, everyone's going to expect The Rock to come out, that cheap rapper to come out with them, and they're going to expect all these people to come out, interfere, because that's what you need to do. Maybe Cody's going to win, whatever. You have John Cena come out and dominate him. Okay, have Cody and I guess kick out once or twice, but you would just have Cena win, and it'll be a wrap. I know. In the short term, people are not really gonna like that, but I think in the long term, it'll work. To be honest with you, and it'll make people wonder, like, well, is this guy really gonna quote unquote retire with the belt? And he just beat the guy who closed the store, the guy that beat Roman Reigns, just dominated him. Like, what the hell are we gonna do? Right? And the next night you have John Cena say, you wanted the old Cena, you got the old Cena. You got Super Cena. That's it. That's what I would do.
That's a fucking line right there. I love it. Yo, D, I need you back on wrestling with me, bro. That the contrast that you give. Oh man, we need that. Listen, Adam, I want to ask you.
That's good. I like that too.
Yeah, I do. Adam, I want to ask you final question of the night. Same question. A double turn, what does that look like for you? Does it work? Does it not? Is it too out there now to even use? And do you schmoz it up at SummerSlam in hopes of delivering a moment? Or do you completely swerve everybody? Because that's D's point, is that you swerve everybody by making it a fucking completely different match for Mania and Saudi, by the way. Adam, what do you think?
I think that I mean, knowing WWE's booking after WrestleMania 40, they're like, well, shit. Now what do we do? Like, I really feel like the Rock's involvement and everything was. I mean, yeah, like that whole thing was like they told it perfectly. It was just the run-ins, everything, and then after that, they really didn't think about the future. And
Yeah.
beyond that, I don't think it's up to Triple H to bring the Rock back. Like, you really think that Triple H is calling the Rock and saying, "Hey, Rock, we're gonna need you." That don't work for me,
Oh,
brother.
good point. Good point.
it's
The
it's
ego
TKO's
isn't
car.
even there to do it.
It's clear like TKO is controlling what's happening, and with
Rock
this
said it
whole,
last time. That
you
was
know,
Ari that called him.
yeah, exactly. And the whole thing, it's like TKO is, $3 billion in debt. Now they're bumping up PLEs to so many because they're just trying to make up ticket prices. They're just trying to cut ins where they can. And honestly, I think Triple H's days are numbered, and
Whoa.
he knows it. And he's trying
Holy
to tell this
shit.
story that he wants to tell and go out on his story. You know what I mean? Within creative.
Yo, bro, seriously, real talk, thank all three of you. I swear to God, 6 clips already that I have, and that's gonna be one as well. Honestly, one of my favorite conversations in wrestling this year. Great job, Matt, D, Adam. Appreciate y'all so much. Listen, that's gonna do it for us,
It's
guys. 3
fundy.
hours, 20 minutes. Fundy, my bad. 3 hours. D, you want to give out your socials real quick? Oh, I'll give them out for you. You can go to D Style on YouTube, and he hosts the roundtable, does boxing, really talks about everything too, current events, politics, super smart guy. Matt, bro, for real, thank you so much for this entire convo, dog. You're gonna go to my TikTok and it's gonna be like 90% clips of you. But you want to give out your socials real quick?
Yeah, no problem, bro. Yeah, just follow me, Matt Garces 4. I'm gonna start sharing the clips of the show. I want to talk more wrestling. I might start my own little wrestling 1 hour
You have to,
quick
bro. You
clip
have
thing.
to. You're too good to not.
And yeah, bro, it's just this was no, I love the banter on this and the back and forth because different opinions from different stages matter, bro. You
Yes, well
need
said.
the optics of all this, bro. It's all very important to what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Adam, thank you. Is there any socials you want to give out, Adam? Or
The real Donald Trump on X.
yeah, I forgot you. That's his burner. Yo, appreciate everybody. Listen, I'm gonna be tapped in for SummerSlam Saturday and Sunday. Wherever you're watching right now, click the sub, click the notifications for when you go live. When I go live, because we will be live Saturday and Sunday for both shows. Matt, if you're gonna be watching, bro, more than welcome to tap in. Adam will be there for sure Sunday, maybe Saturday too. But everybody else, I appreciate y'all tapped in for the whole show. If you didn't get a chance to listen to the whole thing, 3 hours and 22 minutes is what we put in, so you can go back and check out everything. It's at Infighting Exchange. That's Infighting FX on every single platform: TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, X, and IG. Shout out to everybody in IG, by the way. I'm sorry I didn't get to the comments, but shout out to all of y'all. Appreciate it very much. Oh, Anthony was in the building. Appreciate you, champ. Hell yeah. All right, until next time, actually until Saturday. Peace.